Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right, I'm glad you all thought it not hard to come out this evening to kind of share your thoughts. My name is Keith Carswell. I work for the Mayor of Miami. I'm an advisor on economic development and resiliency. So I'm not with the developers team. I'm not with the concerned leaders. I'm just someone who actually grew up in this community not too far, 59th and 7th place. So I've had, where I'm at now, unincorporated Dade, just a little further north here. I'm still a Miami resident, but one of the few native Miamians. But at any rate, I have been, I guess, in my role as advisor to the mayor, involved in meeting with the developers as well as meeting with the concerned leaders of Little Haiti. And so my role has always been to just kind of facilitate a discussion. And so pretty much tonight, that's what we're going to do. But I do want to create expectations. So the expectation is that if you think that there's going to be negotiations, if you will, or give and take, I think that the developers have about a 30-minute presentation. And then at the conclusion of the presentation, they're going to open it up for comments. I think we have about 150 people at least here. Similar to what we do with the City Commission, we want to try to limit it to about 2 minutes per person. If we give everyone leeway to just continue to talk, with 150 people, we could be here for quite some time. But I think through the presentation that's going to be presented by the developers, I think that it should hopefully address some of the questions and concerns that I've heard from the community, I've heard from the concerned leaders, I've heard from different people as they're concerned about the proposed development. So with that, I want to also have the development team introduce themselves.
Good evening, thank you again for coming. I'm Max Sklar, Vice President with Plaza Equity Partners.
Good evening, my name is Anthony Burns. I'm the President of Plaza Equity Partners.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandy Dorsey. I'm the Community Liaison for Magic City Innovative District.
Good evening, I'm Nixon Kasdan with Ackerman LLP, attorney for the project.
Beg your pardon? Yes, I was going to mention that there is a translator here. Right.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Donc, après la présentation, on va faire en anglais, mais après la présentation, partie question-réponse, la fait en 2 langues. Donc, si nous avons une question que nous avons posée en créole, on traduit pour nous, et puis on s'attaque à une réponse que nous avons cherchée. Merci.
We will.
Right, so the plan is to have the presentation in English, but then we're going to have a Q&A in both languages.
Let me clarify then, and maybe we can work something out as part of your presentation. So what we'll do is that during the presentation, the translator will translate. And then at the end, won't be a Q&A, will be more of comments. And so we'll have the translator also involved in translating the comments, make sure that they get the essence of the concerns, or if any, or the feedback from the presentation. No, they will not. It's open up for public comment, similar to what would happen at a normal city commission meeting. I think that the presentation, let's see how it goes. I believe the presentation should address some of the questions and concerns that you may have. So let's just see how it goes.
Good evening. Again, I'm Max Sklar with Plaza Equity Partners. Plaza Equity Partners are the managing partner for the Magic City Innovation District and one of 4 partners of the Magic City Innovation District. I'm sorry.
There we go.
Ok, tout le monde capte de venir avec. Donc, non, moi, c'est Max Ford. C'est une partenaire qui est responsable de développement.
I'd like to put the project and the history of the site in a little bit of perspective for everybody. So, the site itself dates back to the early 1900s, where the former Magic City Tourist Camp used to be housed. The Magic City Tourist Camp was the initial hospitality that people received when they came down from the north on the train station that was just adjacent to the site and came down to Miami in the early 1900s. Over time, the Magic City I forgot, thank you.
Et pour commencer la présentation, nous allons parler de l'histoire Magic City. Donc, l'histoire Magic City a commencé depuis l'année 1900. Et dans l'année 1900, la partie qui était plus connue, c'est le camp touristique. Donc, le camp touristique que nous avons dans la région nord. Et puis, il montre nos photos.
So over time, the Magic City Tourist Camp became the Magic City Trailer Park, and as we decided to move forward with this project, it was important for us to pay homage to the history of the site and keep the name Magic City in the project, which is why we call it the Magic City Innovation District.
Avec le temps, quand touristique est tourné au camp, côté qui était trailer, et ça était important pour nous, nous commencer le projet, pour nous mettre une histoire et côté ça, et c'est pour ça que nous venons de Magic City Innovation.
The Magic City Trailer Park and Tourist Camp, as well as the historic Dupuy building on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 61st Street, were owned by the Dupuy family. They owned it up until we bought it, and we are now the second owners of the site.
Et ni camp touristique, camp qui était trailer, et puis tout, et Dupuy, ils ont tous appartenu à la famille Dupuy. Et nous venons acheter tout bagage dans le et c'est différents sites que nous allons développer.
The Dupuy building is one of the oldest buildings in Miami, and we will be restoring the building as part of our project.
Et le building Dupuy, c'est un building qui est plus ancien de Miami, et nous allons restaurer dans le cadre du développement qui va faire là.
Over time, the neighborhood has changed and has become Little Haiti. In 2016, the city officially designated the neighborhood Little Haiti. And here you have images of some of the iconic buildings, including the marketplace, the cultural center, some of the wonderful murals, and Mapu Bookstore.
Avec le temps, et bien entendu, zone a changé en pile, et il est tourné à nouvelle première leader Haiti en 2016. Finlande reconnaît non leader haïtien officiellement. Et sous photo ça, nous avons certains côtés qui sont très importants dans le leader Haiti. Par exemple, nous avons marché, nous avons Mapu, nous avons différents côtés que nous avons reconnaître, graffiti qui sont mis autour.
When the partners got together and started to research and determine how we wanted to create the Magic City Innovation District, we started looking at other innovation districts throughout the world. But one of our partners, Lune Rouge, which is based out of Montreal and owned by Guy Laliberté, the founder and creator of Cirque du Soleil, has started to create at that time a smaller hub in Montreal at the Alcan Center that's very similar to what we have modeled our project after.
Là, nous avons commencé à regarder qui changement nous allons faire. Nous avons regardé différents projets d'innovation qui étaient faits à travers le monde. Et une qui a attiré l'attention particulièrement, c'est une qui était Canada, qui c'était Lune Rouge avec Lune Rouge Livre. C'est un projet d'innovation et tout qui a eu un succès. C'est un qui fait le Cirque du Soleil et nous avons gardé pour nous qui j'en ai suivre le modèle ça.
On a smaller scale, this project is a great example of what we are trying to achieve because it's a hub for startups and digital entertainment and content creation. Types of companies we are looking to attract will focus on augmented reality, virtual reality, those gaming.
Sans ça, c'est vraiment un modèle de ça nous-mêmes, nous devons réaliser un modèle bien sûr à une échelle qui est légèrement plus bas. Et parce que ça qui intéresse, c'est activité digitale avec création et information sous forme digitale tout. Et puis, il faut un monde qui n'a pas essayé d'attirer, c'est le monde qui est intéressé dans le domaine ça.
These are the new jobs of the future, which is why we have decided to focus in this area. The other aspect of this project that's similar to ours is that it integrates historic buildings and new modern buildings in a development, similar to what we're trying to achieve with the historic building of the Dupuis building and our new building.
Donc ça c'est un job que pour gagner dans le futur, job qui a rapport avec technologie, qui a rapport avec l'aspect digital. Mais non seulement ça qui a attiré nous tous dans le modèle au Canada, c'est que yo même tout, yo gagne un ancien building, un building historique que yo rénové, ça qui était très similaire à ça nous-mêmes nous voulons faire, côté nous gagne building Dupuis qui est ancien que nous allons utiliser et puis tout nous gagne nouveau building qui fait partie du projet.
So Lune Rouge identified an anchor tenant to help solidify their project, which was EA Sports, the gaming entertainment company. Similar to them, we have been seeking out anchor tenants for our project as well.
Au Canada, il y a des gens qui étaient occupés du building, c'est une compagnie qui était la même vision avec eux et qui était dans le domaine amusement du point de vue technologique. Donc, nous, c'est EA pour pas. Nous-mêmes, tout même genre, nous avons une compagnie que nous travaillons avec qui, lui-même, tout a intérêt dans l'aspect digital.
These three firms we've already identified as anchor tenants of the project. On Point is already a tenant within one of our buildings. They have already brought over 100 employees to the area to help build the economy of the local area and start patroning the businesses in the area. Moreover, they've developed a relationship with iTech, which is the high school just adjacent to Edison, just down the street, and are already offering internships and training to some of the students there. This is the type of model that we like to see with all of our tenants that are coming to the project.
Première compagnie que nous identifions comme partenaire solide, c'est On Point, qui déjà occupé du building depuis un certain temps et ils ont déjà établi rapport avec au moins 100 autres compagnies qui ont essayé de développer la compagnie et ils ont une relation spéciale avec iTech, qui sont l'école de quartier. Et ils offrent stage, ils offrent toute qualité d'activité qui vont être renforcée et vu qu'il y a un travail sur lui.
As part of phase 1 of our activation of our properties, we are placing tenants like these into our converted warehouses. These are before and after pictures of the warehouses when we got them and what they will look like.
Donc, et pour la première phase, nous commençons à mettre et dans différents buildings que nous avons sur place. Nous avons des photos de buildings qui, comme des entrepôts, nous avons des photos qui ont été avant et puis qui sont après.
The completion of the renovation of these warehouses, most of them are actually already complete. There's a few that are still at the tail end of the construction and should be completed within the next couple of months.
Et donc, entrepôt, puis voilà, en fait, nous finissons de rénover. Il y a une qui est presque fini, d'ici quelques mois, il a fini complètement.
The goal of doing this as part of our initial phase in the project is to start activating the neighborhood. These warehouses previously employed maybe 2 or 3 employees and weren't in active use. They gave no reason for someone to drive over there and patron a business. The idea here is to bring office tenants and retail tenants, some of which I already showed you, that have hundreds of employees that will be able to start activating the neighborhood and creating an economy in this area.
Ça nous voulait faire, c'est rendre quartier plus actif. Là, nous regardons entrepôt dans la photo qui est en l'air. Et peut-être que tu as chaque trentaine employés comme ça, pas vraiment de raison pour notre machine de déplacer à la zone. Ça nous voulait faire, c'est pour nous gagner au moins une centaine d'employés dans chaque nouveau bâtiment que nous gagnons. Pour ça, et activité pour développer, pour avoir plus d'ambiance, plus de bagages pour faire dans la zone, pour plus de monde qui venir.
Another objective of this is to incubate businesses, whether to start a business or existing businesses that are small and looking to grow. They can start off in our existing portfolio of warehouses that have been renovated and then hopefully grow as we grow into some of our newer buildings.
Ça nous veut faire tout, c'est aider le business, que ce soit un petit business qui fait commencer, qui a essayé de développer, nous avons été et public business qui dans building ça que nous avons ou bien que c'est business qui a commencé à développer déjà, qui voulait venir plus gros. Donc là, ça, nous avons aidé tout business ça pour nous-mêmes développer avec nous.
So, as I mentioned previously, in 2016, the city established formally the Little Haiti neighborhood. The boundaries in the purple highlighted area are the boundaries of the Little Haiti neighborhood.
Je m'étais dit avant, en 2016, Villan te reconnaître officiellement Little Haiti et comme non quartier. Et si nous regardons les projections, nous avons qui côté limite Little Haiti.
The Magic City Innovation District is outlined here and highlighted in purple. About 90% of the project is located in the Little Haiti boundaries, and a small percentage of it is in what's called the Little River area. It's the industrial area over here.
Là, nous regardons l'image encore, partie qui est en mauve foncé, c'est qui représente et Magic City Innovation, District Magic City Innovation. Et donc, on voit que 95% là-dedans fait partie de Little Haiti. Le parti 1 qui fait partie de Little River, qui c'est en zone plus ou moins industrielle.
You will also see here that Magic City represents 1.5% of the total Little Haiti neighborhood, and as we go into the presentation, I'll talk a little bit more about our community and public benefits, but we will be giving, as 1.5% of the area, $31 million back to the community.
Nous avons que Magic City représente 1,5% de Little Haiti. Et Peter va parler de tout avantage que nous avons, avantage du point de vue communautaire, du point de vue financier. Et puis nous avons un montant de $31 millions tout que nous remettons par la communauté.
So this gives you an aerial to show you the vacant former trailer park site, the industrial uses around us, some of the city assets here. You can see the beginning of the soccer park, and you have Palm Grove neighborhood just to the east of us.
Ça, c'est une vue aérienne, en photo que je prends en l'air. Nous avons qui côté entrepôt, nous avons zone côté
soccer court.
Ça, c'est pas pour jouer football, non? Pas que tu te montres rien. Et puis, en l'air net, nous avons un quartier Palm Grove, non?
I want to also point out that the site has some beautiful trees within the former trailer park site. And as we go into the master plan, I'll show you what we are doing in order to try to preserve as many of the trees in place or relocate as many trees as we can to save them within the project.
Et puis, moi, je voulais porter attention, que nous porter attention non sur bel pied bois qui vient dans toute zone, non? Pour aller expliquer nous qui ça nous fait avec pied bois ça yo pendant la rénovation yo, nous fait tout possible nous pour nous préserver bel pied bois ça.
This map just illustrates a little bit more about what I was saying before. You have the various industrial uses, the vacant trailer park site, commercial corridor of 2nd Avenue, and then here you see Notre Dame de Haiti Catholic Church, the soccer park, Eaton Park, and this is Palm Grove just out.
Donc, quand ça, il montre plus dans son quartier, il illustre son quartier, nous avons toute partie industrielle, nous avons partie vide, côté qui vient trailer, nous avons partie côté, nous avons joué football dans les portes, et puis tout, nous avons Notre-Dame qui est à gauche, et puis nous avons vers la droite, Eaton Park.
In this image, you see all of the purple properties are the properties that are owned by and as part of the Magic City Special Area Plan. Again, you can see the assets that I mentioned before. You have 2nd Avenue here, the FEC train tracks, 62nd Street, which connects Biscayne Boulevard to I-95 further out, Cushman School, and Lemon City Library.
Donc, toute partie qui est en Mauvio, encore une fois, c'est eux qui fait partie et plan et spécial et Magic City Innovation. Nous avons tous différents côtés que tu as mentionné avant. Nous avons 2e avenue et avec l'église Notre-Dame, vers la gauche, nous avons pop pour jouer et football en l'air. Si nous regardons vers la droite, comme ça, nous avons côté train en passé, nous avons Biscayne Boulevard qui est une rencontre avec 62e avenue qui menait sur 95 vers la droite, et puis nous avons Cushman School qui l'a tout avec une bibliothèque, Lemon City Library.
I'd also like to point out that right about here we have Morningside Elementary, a public school, and here you have Toussaint Elementary, another public school.
Et puis, un lien vers le milieu et vers la droite, et en école publique, et puis en bas, tout vers le côté qui, dans un côté qui est écrit North-East 2e avenue, nous avons l'école publique qui l'a tout.
So the existing conditions of the site, well, first I should point out everything in red here are properties within the Magic City SAP. It might be a little bit hard to see from where you're sitting, but the important point I'd like to make here is you see the former trailer park site with the trees. You have this block which we own. This block we own some of the properties, but not all of them. And the 2 blocks are long, what I would call mega blocks that block off both north-south and east-west and really don't enhance the connectivity of the neighborhood. They really block off the neighborhood. You see.
Si nous regardons maintenant, et puis nous voyons partie qui est encerclée en rouge, c'est toute partie qui fait partie, c'est tout ça qui fait partie plan spécial Magic City. Si nous regardons les gens tout bagaille en enfant, partie qui ont gens en bas, nous voyons trailer, nous voyons et pied bois, nous voyons que pas vraiment une connectivité entre 2 parties et c'est ça nous voulons changer.
These 2 blocks basically extend all the way from 4th Avenue to 2nd Avenue with no cross-block access. 3rd Avenue has a brief right-of-way here between 62nd and 61st Street, stops and then picks up again on the southern part at 59th Terrace.
Si nous regardons les gens liés sous projection, nous voyons que il est vraiment difficile pour sortir de 4e pour aller dans 2e avenue, à un côté du percé, et puis tout les regards de 3e avenue, il y a un petit passage tout petit, et côté moun ka aller, il perce pour un petit moment, mais vraiment gros bloc ça, pas aucune façon pour te traverser.
4th Avenue extends north until basically our building at 62nd Street. And in order to continue, you have to make a left turn and then a right turn in order to continue using 4th Avenue. It has not been an attractive road for people to use.
Si nous prenons la 4e avenue, nous montons tout droit, nous dans le building côté nous et puis là, ça vous oblige de virer à gauche et vous oblige de virer à droite encore. C'est pas une route que nous faisons les fait parce que ce n'est pas facile pour passer là-dedans.
I'll point out also this is the historic Dupuy building on the corner of our property, and the cultural center and marketplace are located here, and these are 2 parking lots associated that service the cultural center.
Et à partir de Mauvelin, c'est parti building Dupuy, building historique, comme tu as mentionné enfant. Et puis en bas, nous avons un centre culturel, et puis sous côté, nous avons un marché, et puis 2 espaces dans ça, c'est l'espace côté qui est parking.
So those aspects of the neighborhood were some of the guiding things that we looked at when we looked at our master plan and as we approached it with our architects.
Là, nous avons planifié et avec l'architecte, c'est tout pareil, ça nous avons gardé. Et qui route qui là, qui là.
So the master plan here shows you that we are opening up 3rd Avenue all the way through. We have to go through the city parking lot here. The city has agreed that this is a good thing to do to open up 3rd Avenue, which will connect it from 54th Street all the way to 62nd Street.
Et si nous regardons le plan que nous travaillons sur les uns, nous voyons que 3e avenue d'une percée. Nous avons depuis un descend juste en bas, puis passer beaucoup, nous sommes obligés d'entrer en dedans parking que Ville Ville reconnaît que c'était un bon bagage que nous avons fait pour nous passer, pour nous percer et par parking là. Donc nous sommes depuis 54 de sauce. From 60 to 54.
Yes. And then here, 4th Avenue, if you recall before, went up like this and over. And now 4th Avenue is cutting through the site and connecting to the rest of 4th Avenue to make it a more functional street and to allow traffic to more easily go from 54th to 71st Street.
Donc, nous avons l'autre option, nous sommes 4e avenue, nous avons viré, passer le mi-temps et 10 clients pour nous monter juste en l'air, arriver dans 71, dans 71e. Depuis dans 54, arriver dans 71e.
One of the other central features of the project is the Promenade de Grand Bois. We named it after all of the trees in the project and after one of the national forests in Haiti.
Et une des parties que nous avons dans le plan, c'est la partie côté qui y a tout qui est bois que nous avons conservé, que nous viendrons les grands bois, qui est pour un hommage au fait qu'il y a tout qui est bois qu'on a prêté, et puis pour rappeler le monde de grands bois qui gagnent en Haïti.
So the promenade connects at a pedestrian level the business quarter of 2nd Avenue to all of the east side, whether it's the Eaton Park, Library, the neighborhood in Palm Grove, or the businesses along Biscayne Boulevard.
Donc là nous marchons, là nous prenons à pied, nous avons sorti depuis la 2e avenue pour aller juste dans la partie à l'est, côté nous avons Palm Grove, nous avons une bibliothèque là, et puis de l'autre côté que nous avons accès à eux.
We also have created a series of paseos or passageways throughout the project so that we no longer have the mega block experience that we had before and people can more easily traverse through the project and around the project.
Nous avons différents côtés, tout côté où nous avons marché pendant en dedans. Nous pas bien côté pour aller au début, tout va être bloqué, pour y avoir une ouverture, il y a un qui perce pour nous circuler en dedans.
In this area here, our hope is that we create a train station. This building would be a office building and parking garage that could serve as a park and ride and other retail amenities to support the train station, which would have a pedestrian bridge that crosses over the tracks. And here's the platform for the train, has been designed to accommodate the trains.
Nous construisons une station train tout, donc à ouais parti côté train on va le passer, et puis building et que nous avons compris c'est building côté pour gain bureau, pour gain côté qui monde parquet tout, pour gain deux trois monde qui vendre et en détail, donc tout ça pour faciliter l'accès à train.
So I want to be clear, the train is not something that has been approved as part of the project. It's a completely separate approval that's required. However, it was important to us to design to accommodate the train as we pursue that on a parallel track in order to try to achieve that for this project.
L'important de préciser quand même que parti train, il y a beaucoup approuvé, mais nous-mêmes, comme nous avons commencé avec l'autre partie, il était important pour nous planifier pour nous avoir un train là, pour nous si nous avons l'opportunité pour train faire, pour structurer déjà en place pour train possible.
So here we're illustrating through the new streets that we're creating and the promenade de Grand Bois that we're creating, the connection between the soccer park and the cultural center, and the hopeful proposed train station or the public assets in the library in Eden Park to the business corridor and the church on 2nd Avenue.
Et quand on a ça, lui-même montre différents aspects. Nous avons qui sont sortis depuis dans le Soccer Park pour les descendre. Nous avons qui sont marché dans le bâtiment après les grands bois avec pieds bois et sont depuis dans l'église catholique arrivé dans la station train que nous proposons. Et vers la gauche, c'est la bibliothèque qui gagne avec sur la droite alors nous avons une bibliothèque là, puis sur la gauche nous avons un corridor commercial qui existait déjà.
So this, we created a series of zones within the project to help explain what those various areas will consist of primarily. Along 2nd Avenue, and in honor of the historic Dupuy building, we've called that Le Marché Dupuy, which we will not be changing any of the zoning along this area. It will remain T5 and will be consistent with the zoning that's already existing on 2nd Avenue.
Et sur ça, même nous montrons des parties qui gagnent pour au moins comprendre qui ça qui pourra là exactement. Et nous voyons pour nous voir qui ça y est tout. Par exemple, vers la gauche, nous avons marché Dupuy qui rend hommage à building historique Dupuy. Donc,
Then we go into the next district is Le Bureau, which will consist of offices and a hotel.
Et puis après ça, nous avons parti qui veut les bureaux, c'est là tout bureau pour aller, et puis tout après un hôtel là.
Residential buildings in the middle, which will be the taller buildings at 25 stories.
Parti qui veut les résidences là, sont buildings qui ont 25 étages, donc c'est là qu'il peut aller et partie résidentielle pour mon été.
And then Les Ateliers, which are offices and retail-focused area to the east.
Et puis, partie qui veut les ateliers, c'est là qu'il peut aller plus bureaux et puis mon cap vend en détail.
The idea was that we approach this similar to like a wedding cake that tears up in the middle and comes back down on the sides. The middle of the project where the apartment buildings will be the tallest buildings with lower rise on the end.
Là, nous avons réfléchi sur qui j'aime pour nous mettre tout bagarre ensemble. Nous avons réfléchi pour un gâteau mariage, côté les fonds monter sur côté et puis les monter en pile dans mi-temps pour les redescendre. Donc, nous avons que partie les résidences monter net et puis sous côté, nous avons petit montée qui fait.
So as part of the project, there are a number of other improvements we'll be making to the area. This image here shows both existing and proposed transit. We will enhance the bus stops and bus circulation trolleys. And again, if we're successful with the train station, we'll have a train station as well.
On va que nous essayons de faire, c'est quand même améliorer le transport public dans la zone. Donc, nous avons différents côtés que nous pouvons gagner arrêt pour autobus, arrêt pour trolley, comme ça, le transport est plus facile dans la zone.
This illustrates the bicycle circulation. Right now we're proposing to add 4 times as many bike lanes throughout the neighborhood than exists currently. As in an effort to be a sustainable and more green project, we will, the goal is to encourage people to get out of their cars, whether it's through mass transit, buses, trolleys, or bicycles to get throughout the neighborhood.
Parti ça et envers montrer qui côté mon yo ka monter bécane. Donc n'a essayé encourager plus monde monter bécane pour nous gagner 4 fois plus ligne pour bicyclette yo. Que mon yo prend et transport public, bus, trolley, que ces machines yo mené pour yo ka descendre, pour yo ka explorer quartier sous bécane.
This illustrates the open space and green space that we are proposing for the project. We are, of all of the property that we have within the project, we are giving 21% back to open space, green space, and public space for the community.
Sous ça, nous avons toute partie qui est ouverte, toute partie qui est en plein air. 21% d'un projet, nous prenons 21% ça pour espace ouvert, pour nous aller en libre, pour nous gagner plantes, etc.
In order to accomplish, we felt it was very important to maintain a large amount of open space for the community. This is roughly 2 times as much as required from the city.
Nous pensons que c'est important pour une communauté qui a un espace ouvert et partie ça que nous réservons pour l'espace ouvert, les 2 fois ça ville est exigé.
This is one of the reasons why we have been seeking taller buildings throughout the project so that we can accommodate as much open space and public space as well. Instead of smaller, wider buildings, we can go higher and maintain the open and green space.
C'est la raison qui fait tout que là nous avons réfléchi sur le building, nous avons planifié le building qui est haut en pile. Au lieu de nous avoir un building qui est large, qui prend un pile d'espace, nous plutôt un building qui est haut, comme ça nous avons plus d'espace ouvert, nous avons plus de plantes et tout autre building.
This image here shows you the various different uses that I explained on the earlier slides. You'll see, it might be harder for you to see, but the blue buildings are office buildings. The red buildings are the residential buildings. Yellow is a hotel. Any gray that you can identify here are the garages that are associated with the respective buildings or phases.
Et quand ça, il montre 2-3 de ça que mentionné avant déjà. Donc tout espace qui bleu, c'est espace. What are the
Blue is office.
c'est tout espace côté d'un bureau. Partie rouge, c'est partie résidentielle. Partie qui jaune,
Yellow is hotel.
c'est pour l'hôtel que nous gagnons. Et puis partie qui gris, c'est pour parking.
The project includes about 2,600 apartments, 345,000 square feet of retail, 1.9 million square feet of office.
Would you repeat the numbers?
2,600 apartments,
Donc 206 000 appartements, 206,
2,600,
oh, 2600 appartements,
345,000 square feet of retail,
345 000 pieds pour vente à détail,
and 1.9 million square feet of office.
et puis 1,9 pieds carrés pour bureau. Millions et pieds carrés.
This is a massing, conceptual massing study that we did for the project, so you can see the height of the buildings. This is not architecture. We have not designed any of the buildings. An important note for everybody is that each of the buildings, once they're designed, have to go back through the city approval process to the design review board for approval.
Et on va qui est très important pour nous comprendre, ça c'est quand même une projection parce que depuis nous planifions du point de vue architecture, il faut nous voyer, ça nous planifier en bas ville et ville lui-même, il est pour approuver pour dire non, pas de problème, nous devons continuer.
This is an image if you're standing on 2nd Avenue and 54th Street looking north. You have Churchill's and Sweat Records here, and you can see the tops of the buildings right here.
Ça, c'est une vue, si nous campons sur 2e avenue, nous parlons au nord, nous dans la zone 54e, nous avons Churchill qui est à droite, et puis nous avons Building derrière.
And then here, if you're standing at Biscayne Boulevard and 62nd Street looking west, you would see the buildings in the top two.
Et puis là, si nous campons sur le 62e, et puis nous avons à l'ouest, nous avons Building à derrière.
We're going to take, I'm sorry, but we're going to take questions afterwards. This is a rendering of the restored historic New Queen building, standing on 2nd Avenue, roughly on the side of the street where the church is located. You see the entrance to the Promenade de Grand Bois right here. And another aspect that we've included are these retail merchandise units. We have allocated a minimum of 20% of these retail units for the local merchants.
Nous avons ce qui ça nous va faire avec Building Dupuis, avec nos rénover, donc ça c'est tout près de l'église sur 2e avenue. Nous avons entré côté Promenade de Bois, et puis nous avons détaillants qui pour le vendre et produits. Nous réservons 21% dans tout détaillant, nous voulons pousser des détaillants locaux que qui ont un business local.
This is another view of the promenade. Further in from 2nd Avenue, you can see some of the pavement treatments and the color that we're trying to bring in, some of the art and street performers that we're envisioning, and here you have the retail along the, as well as the trees that we've preserved and saved in the project.
Là, nous avons l'autre photo différente côté pour marcher, ça y est les promenades. Nous avons, et ça c'est sur 2e avenue que lié, nous avons pied bois que nous allons conserver, différentes couleurs que nous avons portées, et or qui peut aller là, et ancien pied bois que nous avons préservé, et puis tout côté nous sommes capables de marcher.
This is a little further in on the Promenade de Grand Bois. You can see here the new 3rd Avenue that is opened up. Again, the trees that we've been able to preserve through the project and some of the artistic elements and color that we brought into the project.
Yes, please.
This is along the Promenade at 3rd Avenue, the new 3rd Avenue, where if you're running roughly from here, you see the preserved trees and some of the artistic elements that we included in the project.
Donc ça, c'est là nous continuer à entrer et dans un endroit avenue, nous avons un gros pied bois que nous préserver pour l'eau qui vient et qui peut débrouiller par le marché.
So economic impact is very important to us. We hired an independent economist to analyze our project and provide us with estimates of what the impact is going to be. We will be providing in excess of 11,000 full-time jobs, over 900 construction jobs, and 640 million in direct wages to those people who are employed, both direct and indirect, by or as a result of this project.
Donc ça, c'est une projection que nous faisons du point de vue impact financier qui va gagner. Donc, et nous allons créer job et nous allons avoir différents et ça va offrir pour gagner 11 680 jobs à plein temps, que ce soit direct ou bien indirectement, et job ça ne va pas exister. Nous avons 930 jobs dans le domaine de construction et puis 640 millions de dollars que nous ne pas gagner comme salaire directement ou bien indirectement.
We are estimating $42 million in permanent impact fees through the construction of the project that goes back to both the county and the city.
Nous avons 42 millions de dollars qui vont tourner dans la même ville pour ça faire taxe avec revenu.
To me, the most important number here is $188 million that gets spent locally as a result of this project. So this is money that goes back into the community by the people who are living or working here within the development, that goes back to paying other businesses throughout the Little Haiti community.
Et le chiffre pour moi qui est bien important, c'est 188 millions de dollars qui vont tourner dans mes communautés. Donc, les gens qui vont jouer l'avantage, ça, c'est les gens qui travaillent dans la communauté, qui ont business dans la communauté. Donc, tout l'argent, ça, c'est l'argent qui a tourné dans la communauté.
And then a project of this nature will result in a lot of additional property taxes for the city and the county. $37 million between all the taxing agencies, which is the city, county, and school board, and then $14 million directly for the city of Miami.
Et puis, le projet de ça, il va bénéficier de l'île, comté, et ça inclut le département de l'éducation. Donc, nous avons 37,6 millions qui vont tourner joignaux, et puis 14,3 millions pour finir Miami.
And it's important that you realize these are both annual numbers, so these will be reoccurring revenue that will enhance the city's budget that will be available to be used back in this community and throughout the rest of the city.
L'important tout pour nous noter que l'argent qui va tourner dans mes lois, c'est par année. Donc, c'est chaque année que on va joindre l'argent.
So job creation and employment opportunities are important as well as a result of a project like this. Our local hiring practices will first include residents from the 4 zip codes that encompass Little Haiti, 33137, 3850, and 27.
Les gens parlent d'opportunités pour gagner du point de vue création de travail, et travail que l'on peut joindre. Premier monde qui a besoin de priorité, c'est le monde qui était dans le zip code de Haiti. Donc si on était dans 3337, 3338, 3350 et 3327.
If we're not able to find the right employees with the right skills for the jobs we're seeking for that aspect of the project, whether it's construction or otherwise, then we will then go out further out to these zip codes. And then after that, we're able to go to the rest of the city of Miami.
Si nous pas joindre le monde que nous cherchons pour un travail en particulier qui demande certaines connaissances, nous allons chercher dans le zip code que nous gagnons dans la deuxième émission. Et liste qui commence avec 3328 ans. Et puis si nous continuons à joindre mon chercher dans le zip code, c'est le ça que nous chercher et employés dans l'autre partie de l'environnement.
Our contractors, meaning our general contractor for the project and any other subs, will be required to at least have 20% of the labor coming from these zip codes.
Et nous allons assurer nous qu'au moins 20% de contractuels, de monde que nous employons, et sortir dans une zip code que nous mentionnons.
We will be required to work with workforce agencies to provide job opportunities and job opportunity advertising throughout the community in order to find the employees that live within these zip codes.
Nous allons travailler avec qui ont été approuvés au début. Et puis, deuxième colonne, c'est chiffres que vous avez approuvés après une série de négociations avec Villain et puis commissaire.
So when any developer or any other SAP comes to the city in order to build a project, there is as of right height that you have, which is a portion of the building you can build without paying anything additional to the city to build it. And then there's the bonus that you have to pay to the city, a fee, in order to construct that portion of the project.
Les compagnies viennent dans la ville pour les bâtir, pour les faire développement. Il y a une partie dans la construction qui n'est pas demandée pour payer en tant que frais par la ville. Mais une partie tout dans le développement qui est demandée pour payer l'argent par la ville.
So this first line here, the developer's cash obligations, which includes an allocation for CPI adjustment annually, originally totaled over $31 million, which is the result of the calculation for us to access the available bonus height in the project times the fee that the city charges on a per square foot basis.
Donc, le premier montant que nous voyons, c'est le montant que nous devons pour payer pour partie que nous demandons pour payer. Ça y aurait les parties bonus. Donc, c'est ça le premier montant.
Again, that number was over $31 million.
Chiffre ça est dépassé 31 millions de dollars.
We were also building workforce housing 14% on site, and when you do that, because it wasn't market rate, the value or lost value to us equaled an additional $10 million.
Et peut-être nous avons bâti côté pour travailler, nous avons tout, ça devait coûter nous et l'argent, ça devait coûter $10 millions additionnels.
That totaled just over $41 million.
Donc totalement, il dépassé 41 millions de dollars.
Now, every developer in the city and any other SAP in the city, when they're accessing the bonus height, although there is the fee that I previously explained, the city code in Miami 21 allows you to get a credit or an offset for any public benefits that you provide, which includes workforce housing, affordable housing, green space, transit.
Donc, j'aimerais mentionner avant qu'il y a un argent que nous obligés de payer par la ville en tant que monde qui mon projet a parti, a développé. Mais il faut nous connaître tout que si Tien lui-même, il va crédit, les gains de certains aspects d'un projet qui bénéficient de la communauté. Par exemple, si on a parti pour les gens qui travaillent dans la communauté, si il y a de espace ouvert et qui a pied bois là-dedans, tout ça aide aux joueurs de crédit dans mes villes.
The total number of offsets we had available to us as a result of the workforce housing, affordable housing, green space, transit, etc., totaled just over $26 million, which resulted in a net obligation from the developer, us, to the city of $15 million.
Donc, crédit que nous avons joindre dans mes villes, peut-être nous offrir certains avantages. Par exemple, nous avons bâti pour les gens qui travaillent et nous avons offert logement qui a meilleur prix, nous avons un transport public, nous avons un espace qui est vert, espace qui est en pied bois. Nous avons fait un montant qui est dépassé $26 millions. Et puis, en total, l'argent que nous avons pour nous payer est dépassé $14 millions.
Commissioner Hardeman's office understood that these offsets or credits were available to us just like they're available to every other developer in the city. And between November and when we came back in March, he negotiated with us because he wanted to get this amount, $31 million in cash without any offsets.
Et bien entendu, comme ministère te comprendre que crédit salaire est disponible pour nous, même si elle est disponible pour n'importe qui compagnie qui a parti. Donc en novembre et puis mars, nous avons tourné, nous avons négocié pour nous arriver à 31 millions de dollars parce que c'est moins comme ça que le commissaire a voulu pour recevoir comme l'argent cash.
It's also important to note, if you recall, I mentioned that we pay this money on the bonus height. Another important thing for the commissioner's staff was that we started paying this at the ground level, not at the bonus height. So from the first square foot that we build, we will be paying a proportionate amount of this money spread out through each of our buildings on a per square foot basis.
Je voudrais expliquer avant, partie que nous obligés de payer, c'est partie que est partie bonus, mais on va regarder préciser, c'est que l'argent ça, nous-mêmes, nous parlons, commencer à payer depuis au début. Nous pas tant que nous vivons dans ce stade côté, nous obligés de payer depuis la construction a commencé, nous avons tout payé l'argent ça au départ, nous divisons selon la quantité de building que nous gagnons, et puis à chaque fois que nous avons bâti un building, nous avons payé partie ça.
Another important aspect for the office was, Hello? Another important aspect was that this money would be paid as we develop, as we build buildings, because typically in a project like this gets included in the financing for each building when we go to finance a specific phase or building when we build them, not up front. The commissioner's office felt it was important that the community start to receive some money up front early on instead of waiting for us to build buildings and paying it in phases over time. So another aspect is that we've committed to paying $6 million up front. It would be split into two payments, $3 million. Oh, I'm sorry.
Et donc d'habitude, qui je l'agence travaille, c'est au fur et à mesure que vous bâti ou pas l'argent, l'argent que nous avons les bonus qui tourne l'argent communautaire, mais il était important pour nous et pour c'est à tout pour nous avoir l'argent que nous payons et depuis on voit l'argent depuis le commencement qui peut bénéficier communautaire. Donc nous te mettons d'accord pour depuis même avant tout bagage commencer, nous parlons de 6 millions de dollars qui vont tourner joindre communautaire.
The 6 million, sorry.
If I may, this is my first time seeing this, and I just want to clarify. From a layman's perspective, when you take a look at the $10.1 million in developer in the loss value, let me give you an example, correct me if I'm wrong. If the monthly rent for the market, for example, is $1,200 a month, that's the market. But because it's a workforce unit that has been set aside as part of a 14% or whatever, the rent would be $800 a month as opposed to being able to charge $1,200 a month, correct? And so the $400 a month per unit over a period of time would equate to that $10.1 million.
Donc c'est pas que nous devons clarifier pour le monde qui va toujours connaître qui ça chiffre veut dire. Là on a des chiffres à 10 millions de dollars par exemple que vous mettez comme perte. Qui ça vous considérez comme perte? On dit par exemple que nous gagnons un cas que nous avons et normalement marché a demandé et tarif sur marché a demandé pour ces $1,200 par mois que nous payons pour louer ça. Nous-mêmes, nous louons pour peut-être $800, ça qui fait que pour $400 que nous venons perdus par rapport à ça, marché a demandé. Et c'est $400 ça que nous considérons comme perte. Donc ça c'est un exemple et qui s'achève ça veut dire qui s'accueille là-dedans de toute perte que nous faisons.
And just to clarify, Keith's example is not actual real numbers that represent the rental rates, market rate, or workforce housing. It was just an example.
Et pour les clarifier un bagage, qui va un exemple, mais exemple que pas basé sur des chiffres réels, non, il n'est pas un exemple. Donc, il a dit $200, $800, ça va pas dire, c'est ça que prix sur le marché en ligne, son petit exemple est capable.
So going back here, the upfront $6 million will be split up into two payments. The first $3 million 90 days after approval, and the next $3 million 90 days after that.
Donc, et $6 millions que nous parlons par là, nous parlons en deux portions. Première portion, $3 millions, n'a pas eu 90 jours après avoir approuvé le projet. Et puis l'autre $3 millions n'a pas eu 90 jours après ça.
This represents a $16 million increase from the November package to our current proposal, which is more than double where we were in November.
What is that 6 million going to?
Donc, ça fait par un total de plus de $16 millions qui représentait tout ça que nous avons gagné en novembre.
The other important aspect of all of this money here is that Commissioner Hartman's office is creating the Little Haiti Revitalization Trust so that the money stays in Little Haiti.
Et puis, un autre aspect important, et pour nous connaître tous, c'est que le commissaire a créé un fonds monétaire pour Little Haiti, pour l'argent été de Little Haiti.
Previously, this money, when that would have been paid, would have gone to the city's citywide trust fund and could have been spent anywhere in the city.
Au début, nous d'accord sur le montant, l'argent ça était à n'importe quel côté de notre ville, pas seulement dans Little Haiti.
In addition to the $31 million, there are a number of other benefits that we are proposing and offering. Again, this column here is where we were in November, and this column here is where we are today.
En plus de ça, il y a un autre avantage, un bénéfice que nous offrons aux communautés. À gauche, nous avons qui côté nous en novembre, et puis à droite, nous avons qui côté nous y est.
I'll highlight a few of the key ones so that to point them out. We have agreed to include the words and the name Little Haiti in the name of the project.
Et nous allons parler de deux, trois bénéfices. Et nous décidons par exemple d'inclure nos Little Haiti dans le projet.
Eaton Park will be getting a $100,000 contribution towards some renovations and improvements of the park.
Eaton Park va joindre à peu près $100 millions pour faire l'innovation dans le parc.
I've already touched on the previous slide for all of the job and employment opportunities, so I won't restate that.
Nous avons parlé déjà de toute opportunité de travail qui va gagner, donc on va parler de ça encore pour le moment.
I mentioned previously a 20% set aside for local merchants for the retail merchandise units.
Nous avons parlé de 20% que nous avons préservé pour les gens qui vendent en détail.
We are partnering with an educational institution. We have not identified that institution yet, but we will be partnering with one.
Nous avons un partenariat avec une institution éducationnelle. Nous ne savons pas qui est cette institution, mais nous avons un partenariat avec eux.
We have right-of-way improvements throughout the entire neighborhood, which includes water, sewer, sidewalks, purification, landscaping, lighting.
Nous avons l'argent que nous réservons pour améliorer différents aspects de la communauté, que c'est l'eau, que c'est trottoir, et différents aspects.
And some additional benefits in the Palm Grove neighborhood, which includes historic signage for the area, a traffic calming study, and an expansion of the trolley study.
Et puis, il y a différents aspects de projet qui ont rapport avec Palm Grove, côté on va mettre plus panneaux dans Palm Grove, et puis on va faire une étude pour voir qui je peux améliorer la circulation dans la zone, et puis tout qui je pour nous faire trop lien à le plus loin.
And I'll turn it over to Keith now for the public comment. I just want to let everybody know that we'll be taking notes and we're recording this as well so that we can capture everybody's comments. The microphone will be set up here in the middle, so if you want to make comments, you can line up and then Keith will help to moderate that.
Donc, il y a qui parle et une question dans les publics là, nous avons mis pour qui parle en temps, nous avons été en ligne, et puis quand nous connaissons enregistré, nous prenons note, donc tout commentaire que nous faisons, toute question que nous posons, nous avons très sérieusement pour nous répondre.
First, I want to thank you all for helping us get through the presentation. Again, in the interest of time, there is also a second community meeting that's going to be held. The date for the second community meeting? May 6th. May 6th. So if we can try to keep it around 2 minutes per comments. Also, even though you may have signed in and put your address, but if you could state for the record as part of your comments, could you also state your name as well as your address? And with that, thank you.
Beatrice Lucy, the president of the Florida State Minority Dialogue. Let's be very clear. This project will forever change the face of Little Haiti. Outcry Station residents and businesses, as it has already done. Magic City is only here because the community has raised its voices, it's demanded answers, not receptions, but meetings like this. What Little Haiti needs is more affordable housing, more workforce housing. Each time developers come and make promises to just get elected officials to approve, residents don't benefit. Local businesses don't benefit. The jobs for the people that need it the most never materialize.
To interrupt for 1 second, if you want me to interpret, please limit to 2 or 3 sentences.
You don't have to interpret. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I understand that progress is here. You're not a public agency. I want to know why you're only doing small businesses and not specifically minority businesses. That's one. Second of all, I'd like to see 30% in terms of workforce rentals. Everyone knows that everyone who's renting is out. You can't afford to live here anymore. So I would increase that number. And I've got additional recommendations, including an equity stake in the project. Let's find an Asian developer. Let's find a black developer. You know, there might be people that may want to join in the Billionaires Club to participate in this project. And we want to know about this agency, this 31, who's going to get it, who's going to make the decisions. And we want to be sure that state committee is given the power to not only monitor, but if you don't meet the commitments that are made, to penalize you in some way. Because after the project is done, it's too late. When the decisions are being made from a zoning standpoint, we're not in those meetings. The train is left, and there is no teeth before the project, in the middle of the project, at the end of the project, for the lifetime of the project. So I would like to see whatever this committee is to really have some teeth, because we will not be obligated, because we would have gotten your approval. And unfortunately, the people that are elected officials need to think more about this community and what the community really needs. And we don't need more high-rise buildings.
My name is Michael Lowen, and I live just across the tracks in Palm Grove. I've lived there for almost 20 years. Something that didn't come up in this project that I was really curious about, and I think a lot of communities, or the residential communities in the area, are really concerned about, are the multiple liquor licenses that are being asked for, and the hours in which they would run, as well as live music venues, outdoor events. Those are huge concerns to the residential neighborhood. And it's one thing to have restaurants and bars and, small settings like that, but I think we're really concerned and nervous about having, nightclubs and huge outdoor venues going until all hours of the night. Could you speak to that at all, or is this just? Okay. I've been to multiple meetings. I've never gotten an answer. I've gone to commission meetings, and I never get an answer. But I know these things are being asked for, so it'd be great if they could be addressed. It's a huge concern. Noise is a huge concern.
For the,
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Should I just say it?
Sure, go ahead.
Voilà, interpréter en partie, comme n'était pas non plus il y a des parties qui sont là, mais monsieur qui se parlait là, qui dit, on était dans ce zone là, tout près et côté train passé, et il y a une préoccupation de penser en plus dans la communauté qui est tout, et préoccupation de poser des questions et ce sujet ça, dans différents meetings que vous allez, et il n'y a pas de jambon en réponse. Il y a un point avec le fait que nous demandons permis pour nos servir alcool. Donc ça fait nous faire réfléchir que par exemple, il y a une activité dans la nuit, par exemple, il bruit, par exemple, il y a une activité alcool qui est servi. Et moi, je n'ai pas vraiment un problème pour qu'il y ait un bon dans la zone, non. Mais puisque le projet ça va tellement beau, il faut avouer que niveau bruyant, qui vont un peu de problème, mais on réfléchir que par exemple, il y a un peu de bruit dans le quartier. Donc, tu as même pour parler de ça et pour répondre à la préoccupation ça
The project includes 10 liquor licenses that are restricted for bars or clubs, what would be considered bars or clubs, not restaurants. The objective is to have some bars and clubs in the project. Of course, as part of a live, work, play type of community, we would like to have some of those. It's not our intention to have outdoor entertainment, the 24/7 type of environment that you see in the entertainment district in downtown. That's not what we're seeking. We will have 2,600 residents living there as well, so we don't want to inconvenience our residents, let alone our neighbors.
But these liquor licenses also go until 6 a.m., correct?
Yes, they'd be able to go till I believe it's 5 a.m. Just one that goes till 5, and the others.
What's enough?
On m'a demandé de préciser que le permis, ça nous demandait, c'est pour bon avec club, et nous demandons 10 permis. Donc, nous ne pouvons pas vraiment penser que nous faisons une activité en plein d'air et côté qu'il y a un peu de bruit, même dans les downtown. Et permis, ça nous demandait, c'est pour club avec et bar, restaurant par là-dedans. Et nous là-dedans, qui allait jusqu'à 5 heures, et puis le permis permet pour servir alcool jusqu'à 3 heures.
I would just say, please reconsider the 1, 6, or 5 a.m. Normal working hours, I think, is doable, but the crazy late night, I think, is going to be a game changer for a lot of police force.
Donc, dans les appels, si vous voulez, nous avons quand même une certaine limite, et parce que quand même, nous avons pour y aller travailler le lendemain, donc nous avons même pour nous prendre ça en considération.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Danielle Goodman. I have a few questions. I'm going to read them out quite quickly. For 2 questions about the Innovation District designation, especially if you're predicated on a lot of tech enterprises. I noticed that one of the permissions involved is also to be able to build all kinds of cell towers. You talk about the ability to build extra cell towers. Also, an innovation district is predicated on some kind of actor with an educational or research institute. Thank you for telling us that you don't have one, but I think that should really be taken into consideration because to be a true innovation district, it has to have an educational and research component. And a few startups does not an innovation district make. Also, your economic impact analysis states that 100% of the residents will have around a $75,000 median income. Where are you planning to market these units? Also, what will be the sequence of building? Will the alcohol establishments start out first? Where is the parking going to be? Also, public access to the spaces. These spaces are confined within canyons of 25-story buildings, private residences. Massing document rendering does not use the same axis as the other documents, and it's very misleading. That public space is not real public space. It's going to be monitored and totally surrounded by these huge canyon-like buildings. Also, Mr. Carswell, if only there would be a $1,200 market rate rent. If only. Right now, that is something we're devoutly to be wished. Right now, it's going to be more like over 2,000, right? Density and intensity are out of scale with this neighborhood. When I saw that rendering, all I could think about was Biscayne Boulevard traffic. There's not going to be able to be a train station built there. They already tried this with Design Place. It is not going to work here either. That's it for now.
Thank you.
My name is Debbie Stander. My name is Debbie Stander. I hope I can read what I wrote out at home. I think it's still relevant after this presentation. I'd like to express my concerns about the benefits provisions which are being proposed. I don't believe that the current benefits package represents the best interests of the community. Firstly, the development agreement that was conditionally approved last year by the city's Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board would have represented, despite whatever the numbers were up there, this is, I'm quoting directly from our city planning director, Francisco Garcia, would have represented a value to this community, the previous package, of $120 million in new, affordable, and workforce housing. That restricted income housing would have been built at the same time as the other residential units being planned. So the community would have seen a steady addition of affordable and workforce housing being added to the Little Haiti area as the development evolved. Now, if you've ever been in a position where every month your housing costs eat up so much of your income that there's nothing left over to put towards savings, such as your retirement, child's college fund, or paying for health care, then I think you will appreciate the direct benefit to a community of affordable and workforce housing. In the case of Magic City, our planning directors told us that the agreement approved last year would have resulted in a guaranteed 600 additional new units, a value of $120 million for the community. And that's a lot of money to take off of the table to replace with this new agreement for $31 million. Now, I understand that it's not the developer who's going to give the entire $120 million. It will be part of it will come from matching federal grant. But the bottom line is that the community will receive a value of $120 million in affordable housing under that old agreement. So last year's agreement is now disappeared from the table. It's a kind of a magic trick. Instead, it appears that our commissioner and a small group of concerned citizens have hammered out a new agreement that would allow new developers to buy the right to build bonus height and density by making contributions to something called a community benefits program. As you yourself said during the presentation, this is the first time that this new method is going to be done. Every other developer has paid into the public benefits program. I question the legality of this new proposal, which actually has never been tested, because you're inventing a new zoning system which circumvents the ordinances set out and established in Miami 21 for purchasing the right to build bonus height and density. This program is answers, and I would ask the community to please consider and compare the two proposals very carefully to ensure the best for the entire community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicole. I've lived in Little Haiti for 41 years, so I can actually speak on what I've seen happen in Little Haiti. You're coming in with this big city, and what I watched happen to Little Haiti is everyone that comes in increase the rent, and the Little Haiti people that work living in Little Haiti are no longer there. The Place is one of the main ones that came in Little Haiti, remodeled, and ask me what the people from Little Haiti are right now. They're not in Little Haiti, so I can guarantee you when this place gets built, the people of Little Haiti, they're not going to be here. They're going to get pushed out. When you say you're going to hire from Little Haiti, if they don't have the skills, you're going to go to a different zip code. No. Train them. Hire Little Haiti. Train them, because we don't want to be working for little pennies. We want higher pay. If we're going to be working in your little city, model city, we should get paid for it. We should be able to live in our community. The streets that you're creating in this little plaza, your city, Little Haiti hasn't had sidewalks since I moved here, since 9 years old. Being built, we know how to get around Little Haiti. The people that's going to move here, they're not going to come to the little stores to shop. The people that live in Little Haiti go to the stores to shop. I'm a small business owner. I have 6 people working for me, and they all live in Little Haiti. I don't go outside Little Haiti to hire, but I guarantee you, I have passed out cards. 3 years, I have passed out cards to the new people in the warehouses that's coming inside Little Haiti to start their businesses. Ask me who called me back. Ask me who picked up my card and gave me business in 3 years. So, they're not obligated to give me business. They come in to do their business and the money leaves Little Haiti. It doesn't stay in Little Haiti, it leaves Little Haiti. So, what happens to the people in Little Haiti? We get pushed out. The rent is going to go up. Guaranteed. It's going to go up. So, I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, we're going to go look elsewhere if they don't have the skills. If they don't have the skills, train them. Give them the skills and hire them. That 20% of Little Haiti that's going to get hired should be higher than 20%, because this is Little Haiti. You're not really doing anything for Little Haiti, making streets go from one place, one end to the next. We need things in Little Haiti more than a street from one end to the next. I have a cleaning service called Milestones, and I would like for you people to represent, support Little Haiti.
We're never going to get that out.
All right, my name is Dimitri. I've lived in Little Haiti for 20 years, so I'll be 21 in about a couple weeks. So my only question is, when I was in high school, I saw North Miami Avenue get renovated, I saw Northeast 2nd Avenue get renovated, and it takes a very long time for these things to get done, because all people do when they come in here is lollygag, and they've been lollygagging for a minute. So now you're saying it's going to take about 25 years to bring back $30 million into the community, and so in that time, are you going to be putting more money than that to renovate the other things that you'll be messing up in the process, or are you only going to worry about the warehouses that you started renovating and opening up the streets? Because it is going to cause a lot of issues if you don't renovate other things. So I'm just worried about like what's being renovated, because people my age aren't going to be here in 5 years. So if we come back in like 5 years and there's nothing here for us to come back to, it's going to be a little like distraught. Because if everything's going to look like she said, Biscayne and rush hour traffic, there's not going to be any Little Haiti left. So, like, I just want to see if you guys have like something to say about that.
And I need a response to that. I don't particularly have anything to say. conversation.
So what are we doing here? Wait. Give me back the mic. Give me back the mic.
Providing comments.
Give me back the mic. Give me back the mic. I don't need the mic here to ask a question. What exactly are we doing here if we can't ask them direct questions? He sat here and listened to me speak from 6 o'clock. It is now 8. You're trying to give everybody 2 minutes to talk. They got 2 minutes to answer our questions. We could be here till midnight, but they're not going to sit here and renovate the whole city and not answer the questions because you say we're going to have another forum May 6th, so you're going to have more people in here that weren't in here this time that have questions that aren't going to get answered because they're going to be sitting here for an hour and a half. So you're not going to do this to me when they're sitting right here to answer these questions. Right. Because my whole neighborhood around St. Mary's has been bought. There's 4 properties in that whole neighborhood that are left to be bought. So in 5 years, when that whole neighborhood is bought, what's going to be left? That's what I want to know. Is it going to be ducks like it's right now? Or is it going to be actual, like, substantial buildings that are going to be just so? No. I need to hear from them.
Just to clarify. So when we started this is probably maybe the 5th or 6th meeting. That's
This is the first one I've heard of.
At least 3. I've had meetings with concerned leaders.
Okay, so
I pretended this is at least the 2nd community meeting that I've
been to. You went from 6 to 2. No. 6 to 3 to 2 now. You got a small brother up here to lie to. I need them to answer.
I respect you. Okay.
No, you didn't. You tried it. You took the microphone and told me you're right.
When we started out. When we started out, I'm going to let it know, but I want to when we started out, what we said was there would be public comments.
We're not worried about your answers. You're worried about the development.
Oh, okay. What specific question do you have?
The whole question is what's going to be here, or what are you developing? Are you focusing on your bars and all of the fancy stuff, or are you focusing on the development of the community? What is the development for? Because it doesn't sound like you're developing the community at all.
And I need clarity. What is to be developed first?
Not what's first, what's the focus?
What's the focus?
Because it doesn't sound like the community is the focus.
Very simple question.
This is the long-term development. It will take a number of years to get here, depending on the market conditions, anywhere from 10 to 15 years to get to achieve this. In the short term, what I showed you in those earlier slides is we've already started renovating the warehouses to bring tenants, new tenants, retail tenants, and office tenants to the community. That's what we're doing immediately. We will start building buildings. The first building will be on this corner, which would be the headquarters for motorsports.com. And then this is 60th and 4th Avenue. And then over here is likely where we will build the second building on 4th Avenue.
So you're looking at right over by, it's like right before Biscayne. It's like where it's,
no, these are the train tracks right here.
Right before it gets
These are the train tracks right here. And this is 60th Street. The Cultural Center is here on 59th Terrace.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that answers my question. That just told me what they're developing. I just wanted to know what the focus was, but they just told me what they're developing. So I guess that gives my answer right there. It's cool. Thank you. First of all, I have a question. Is George Town Center here?
Can't hear you.
I asked if George Town Center was here. It's not. My name is John Shaw, or John Longchamps. I'm a business owner in the neighborhood, one of your tenants. My question is, I don't see definitions on here. I have a vast knowledge of construction, development, architecture, but I don't see the definitions. And the reason I'm asking that is because you mentioned transit benefits. And I'd like you guys, your project to be bound by transit benefits. The reason I say that is because I've heard at least, since the time I moved in Miami, I've heard at least 5 projects that claim they're going to get a train station. And based on my knowledge and the meetings I've been to, DOT and the trains that run and own the tracks and own the roads and the cross tracks and the crossroads, for every train station you open or close, or you open a train station, they're allowed to close 2 roads. And the first developer that I know has money. That's Craig Robbins of the Design District. The second project I heard was Biscayne Shopping Center. The third being Wynwood. The fourth being 54th Street, Sable Pond project, and now yours. And based on what I've seen, this person who really puts money into activations, community projects, and things like that, Wynwood far exceeds you guys. I haven't seen any money coming from you guys activating any projects in the neighborhood. Wynwood, they have something going on every month, almost every week. Craig Robbins, he has activations all the time. What have you guys done in the community? And that leads to my second question. How do you intend on maintaining and contributing to the culture of Little Haiti, which we're now intending to colonize? That's my question.
Is it possible to go back to the slide that shows? Is it possible to go back to the slide that shows the massing?
Yes.
That one, go back to one. So, my name is Daniela. I'm a local architect. I work right around the corner in the Ironside Plaza. And I want to point out 3 keen oversights that I see with the project. And so the first oversight that I want to point out is that I find it ironic that there is a sense of understanding about environmental preservation of the historic tree canopy at the Magic City Trailer Park, but there seems to be no foresight in terms of understanding how the scale of the project, the implications of its grandiose scale, will have long-term unsustainable effects on the community. And so I asked to go back to this particular rendering because I think that the proposed height of the buildings, which is so obviously out of scale, as you can clearly see, I think that it represents a precedent for Miami, that if we adopt this language of architecture, that this type of development in superiority to the buildings around it, it does not create the desired effect that you are hoping for, which is an open green promenade that enhances the community through that northeast 3rd Avenue connection. And so I think that that's a keen oversight, and the irony of preserving the trees with no regard for environmental preservation and thinking about the long-term infrastructural impacts of the project, I think is an oversight. The other thing I want to point out is piggybacking off of the brother who just went before me, is that Miami has a rich history of warehouse architecture. He pointed out that Wynwood is successful because it maintains the urban scale of the neighborhood. It uses 1- to 2-story warehouses that act as vibrant retail, vibrant art spaces, And the fabric of the neighborhood, the existing fabric, wasn't really altered very much. And so, to that point, the fabric of the neighborhood, the way that Wynwood has changed, has brought in significant amounts of traffic. It's transformed the entire understanding of the tourist industry in terms of incorporating art. And so, if you look again at this rendering, right, and you see that these proposed buildings are 25 stories, can you imagine the long-term impact that this type of scale would have on the neighborhood, thinking of Wynwood as a reference, and those buildings are only 1 to 2 stories. So I think that this project really needs to consider its roots from a foundational standpoint, and really, really needs to ask the broader questions of how this type of architecture is not going to affect the neighborhood in a good way, and will forever impact the sustainability and act as a precedent for what type of development we are willing to accept in Miami. That's it.
I'd like to respond. First, I'd like to respond to the gentleman before who asked a question about transit. Now, the determination of whether or not there will be a transit stop there is going to be made by either Tri-Rail or Brightline or the company or system that operates the trains. It's not being made by the city. It's not being made by the developer. One thing that has been made clear, though, is that a train station will go where there is enough density, enough activity, enough generation of people, either through places to work or places to live, to merit a train station. And so if Little Haiti would like to get a train station, one thing we'll have to do is create a node that will be attractive for placement of a train. With respect to, and one other thing that's very important to understand, there are no benefits or bonuses now that are being received by this project by virtue of a train station being located at this site. If this project is successful, it may induce a train station, but there's no bonus tied to a train station at this site. With respect to the height issue of the last questioner, most of the property today is zoned D1. D1 allows buildings that are 154 feet high. And so that can be built today as a matter of right in this property, and frankly, most of the property stretching all the way up to 71st Street. Most of the warehouses that have existed in this area have become obsolete as industries and businesses move down to the area and jobs move down to the area. And this is an attempt to revitalize the area by creating some jobs, first and foremost jobs, and then a mixed-use community where people can also live. And so this is not out of context with the height that's allowed. And I would also point out that the investment that's taking place in Wynwood today, where we're very active working with projects, was a result of a change of zoning not dissimilar from what is being sought here. One, to allow increased residential density where it was not allowed. And two, it's not 1 and 2 story warehouses. They're building 8 stories apartment buildings there as well. So they even had an increase in the height for residential and an increase in the intensity for residential to create that. So just wanted to respond.
They keep your residents out of Wynwood for years. Look the same. They're gentrifying right now. Not as important because I know that was place. That
Hi, my name is Jessica St. Clair. I was born and raised in Little Haiti. Been here 20 plus years. And the first thing I will comment on is the names that you are proposing for this project. These French names. Yeah, to me, I don't know about everybody else in the room, that is a gross depiction of Haitian culture. That is not, in fact, Haitian culture. You're talking about French culture, who are what? Colonizers. Okay? So I just want to point that first fact out. Second, sea levels are rising. Climate gentrification is real. So with the sea levels rising and, a lot of people are going to be moving from Miami Beach inland, they're going to be moving towards higher elevation. Little Haiti sits on some of the highest elevation in South Florida and Miami in general. Have you done any impact studies, environmental studies of what your building and the surrounding areas will look like, what the impact of the community will look like in the future? And if you have not, you need to do one. And the last point I will attack is affordable housing. When we're talking about children under the age of 18, according to the Little Haiti Community Needs Assessment, we're talking about 65% living in poverty, children under the age of 18. Overall in Little Haiti, 48% is living in poverty. Average median income is $25,000 in Little Haiti, right? So most people here are paying over 50% of their monthly income to housing. Will the people of Little Haiti be able to afford to live in Magic City? No. No, right? No, that's what the community's saying. So if we know that we won't be able to live in Magic City, why is there no affordable housing units on site included in your building? And I know you might say, oh, because the city is going to use that trust fund money to put in some affordable housing. That's not enough. Because the city owes us that anyway. They owe us that anyway. So if y'all going to come in and try to build and change the face of Little Haiti, make sure that the people of Little Haiti are actually benefiting and can live here, continue to live here. And the only way that you can ensure that is by adding on-site affordable housing and low-income housing.
Was not so much a question, but a brief response, which is that a couple of things. First of all, it has to be understood that not one single person is being displaced from this property. It is the former long-abandoned Badger City Trailer Park and warehouses. So there's no displacement that is being taken place. Number two, the city will receive. May I respond? If you'd like answers to questions, I'm willing to tell you our view and reasons. Number two, the city will receive upwards of $31 million, which it can use to provide more affordable housing if it so chooses. In addition to that, the cost burden issue with regard to housing is a two-part equation. One is the cost of housing. The other is the income to be able to pay for housing. Freddie Mac, the federal agency, which is one of the largest mortgage lenders in the country, just came out with a study, it was released just a couple of weeks ago, in which it analyzed the major cities in the United States and looked at the cost burden of housing. And yes, Miami is a city with housing where that is cost burden. But its statement was very clear that in Miami, unlike the other cities, the problem is not the cost of housing, it's the lack of income and jobs. And so what this project is proposing to do is not to perpetuate a cycle of poverty, but to create jobs in the community that will be better paying jobs than the jobs that exist today, to stimulate and help businesses in the community to open up and hire people, and in that fashion, raise incomes and allow people to stay in this neighborhood, live and participate in this neighborhood.
James Cruz, I live in a historic Palm Grove community. I'm pretty much opposed to all of this nightlife, these long hours of permits that are 3, 5 o'clock in the morning. Many of us are working adults and people who need their rest. We've already had a big impact with Lemon City Studios as one example where they are allowed to have music from 10 until 6 in the morning. And this is during the week as well as the weekend. And I am very much opposed to this nightlife with all of the clubs, all of these things that they're supposed to be restaurants and really nice. And then all of a sudden, we have another problem over on 68th Street, which is now a Puerto Rican restaurant at La Pita, I believe it is, or yeah. But the point is that that has caused havoc in our community. And besides all of that, which I piggyback on the height issue, we also have had change all along 4th Court. And those warehouses are no longer going to be 2 stories. They can go up to 10 stories thanks to Magic City's proposals. So I think this all has to be rethought and somebody has to make some changes. And we went to Commissioner Hardiman quite a few months ago and spoke on our behalf in regards to how you are literally impacting our neighborhoods around this environment. Thank you.
Hi, Robin Porter. I represent Morning City's Historic Neighborhood Association. The first thing that no one's mentioned is this is a meeting after the horses left the barn. This has already been to the City Commission and was approved. They have one more hearing coming up in June, and as far as I can see, it's a done deal. This is a shame. I was in a meeting with the developers in November of 2017, and a lot of the commenting there was about mixed use, micro units, affordable housing, and really a lot of talk about reaching out to local organizations for job training. Have you done any of that yet? So all of these people who would be employed by this project haven't been trained yet, and you've had a year and a half to do that? So what are local people going to do? Come up and clean up construction, haul pipes in and out? You have to have a skill and you have to have a license to do that stuff. This is insulting. Mr. Kasdan, D1, as you stated, is 154 feet. That's 10 stories according to 21. 25 feet for the first one and 15 for anything after that. I don't know that a whole lot of people would be quite so upset about this if you had the affordable housing there and it was something that was a little bit more to scale with everything in the neighborhood. And lastly, I'm concerned because I keep hearing rumors about contributions or benefits being given to Notre Dame, which is hosting this event tonight. I'd like on the record to know what sort of benefits or money was donated or sponsored to the church. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think you have to take into consideration when support is drummed up from an entity that doesn't actually live in the community. And I'm not saying everyone that goes here doesn't, but a large population does not. And I think that's everyone else is covered. Thank you.
Let me respond to that briefly, because you touched on something that's very important, which is job generation. And if the project does not occur, there will be no jobs to be created. And so that is why it is important to undertake this. In addition, if you read the development agreement with the city, Max indicated on the presentation some of it as well. There is required programs for specific outreach for jobs in the immediate zip codes, required advertising for jobs in this area. So there is an entire structure that is set up that when this project moves forward and the jobs are created, this neighborhood and this area must not only get priority, but also must get the tools to be able to get those jobs through training and job placement. Now, notwithstanding the fact that the project hasn't started yet, the Magic City folks have already done a lot to reach out, and Max can detail that, to neighborhood kids, to neighborhood jobs, in terms of providing job opportunities, tech training, educational opportunities. They're doing that before the project has even gotten underway that is being proposed. And so I would say that they're doing more for job generation probably than anyone is doing today in this immediate neighborhood. And they're committed, if the project is approved, to do much, much more.
My name is Warren Perry and I live at 207 Northeast 62nd Street. Again, we keep talking about affordable and workforce housing. But the most people that are going to be affected by this development is low-income housing renters. There's no compliance or no provision that I have heard for low-income people. Now, low-income people are those people who are renting. When this thing gets started, the homeowners have already been approached by developers to sell their homes. So if you own a home, hold on to it. You can get more money. If you're a renter, at some point, somebody will be knocking on your door saying they're the new owner and you have 30 days to get out. There are steps we can take to make this construction process more affordable, more unaffordable for them. We can protest, nonviolent protest. We can lie in, we can sit in, we can lock ourselves. We can slow down the trucks by slowing our cars down on Northeast 2nd Avenue. We can impede their access to their own property because the streets are public. There are things we can do. This Heidemann Heights with the $31 million, that is not going to provide affordable housing or low-income housing to the people who are going to be most impacted by this development. Now, they say that they have no control over that they have given Heidemann $31 million. Well, that's what they've done. They've given Heidemann $31 million. Heidemann asked me at the commission meeting at City Hall, the last time we had a meeting about this project. I told him 31 wasn't enough. He asked me how much would be enough. I told him 100. I was kind of being facetious, but I was kind of being serious. We need more money. We need more people invested in trying to grow the community. We need to stop voting for people because of their name. We need to stop voting for people or having developers come in because their aunt is a relative to the commission. We need to stop voting for people who do nothing for the community. We have empty lots at 62nd and 17th, 62nd and 22nd, 62nd and 18th, and they've been there for years. How come I didn't want to develop over there? Do something about that. We as the people need to be more informed. We as a community and those who speak Creole, which I do not, we need to get more of our people out to these kind of meetings. There should be more of us here because those people who are at home, those are the ones who are going to be getting a knock on the door with a 30-day notice to quit. And some of us cannot move north or to the unincorporated areas like Mr. Carswell. Miss Sandra, you are doing a wonderful job at Little Haiti Cultural Center. I'm sorry to see that you've gone to the dark side. Thank you.
CPA firm here locally. I just have a few questions, just hearing you for a bit. Sort of like what Beatrice Lussan mentioned earlier, the project is going to move forward regardless of this community service event happening tonight. So I want to talk about some things that we can get out of the project as it moves forward. So for example, you mentioned that 7.5% will be allocated for professional services and 10% for contractors. Can we increase that to 20 or 30%? And I don't, Well, I don't recognize that the City of Miami has a CBS or SBE program. I think that's the county's program. So are you going to piggyback off the county's program to utilize their SBEs, CSBEs? Because the city does not have a program like that. What they do have is local participation type percentages. So if you're going to piggyback off the county's site, then you're going to have access to SBEs that are throughout the entire county. So how are you going to make sure that those members are actually in the City of Miami or in the local part? So I'd love to see you increase that to 20 or 30% versus 7.5% and 10%. You mentioned something about a job creation monitoring contract. I'd love for that to be a local firm that's in the local area that can do that type of compliance work to keep you accountable. You mentioned something about the $31 million that's going to come back to the city. Am I going to?
Yes.
Am I going to?
Yes. The first one here.
So the first one was the 7.5% for professional services and 10% for construction firms.
Yeah, all of those, there were a number of categories. 7.5% was one.
Yes,
10% was another. 20% was another. These are minimums.
No, I think
She wanted the question answered. These are minimums, and they can be exceeded, number one. Number two, the hiring here is very specific as to...
I know, sir, but I'm not talking about the hiring. I'm talking about businesses getting a piece of
And the
action.
businesses are specific as to the zip codes that we listed up there.
But the zip codes was for the workforce participation. The zip code did not designate the CSB and the SBE. What I'm trying to say to you is that the City of Miami does not have such a program. That's actually the county.
It doesn't have to be the county's program. It can be an own specifically tailored program for this city and this neighborhood.
So you guys are going to tailor a program and utilize SBEs and CBSBEs from what? From the county? Where are you going to get the SBEs? How are you going to find that they're certified? Are you going to piggyback off the counties? Is that what you're saying? You said yes?
We have to go to the county or any other organization that can provide us with the businesses that are certified for us to access those businesses.
Okay, so the county has a program, the school board has a program, and I know that Ms. Beatrice Dusank's program with the National Support. That's why I said the National Minority, we'll leave it alone. Beatrice Dusank has an organization that also has certified firms. My other question was related to the job creation monitoring contract program. You said you're going to have a contract. I would love for that to be a firm that's going to help you be accountable. Don't just find some big firm from somewhere else that comes and gets all the money. You talked about the $31 million going into a trust. Is there a criteria set on how that money would be allocated? I know you said $6 million is coming initially. Is there a criteria that dictates on how that money will be spent in the community?
So the ordinance establishing that trust was passed on first reading by the city last month. The second reading of that ordinance is actually, I believe, on the agenda for this month, this week, before the city. There's a list of types of projects that are approved. So workforce housing, affordable housing, job training, job creation programs. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but we don't dictate that. That is something that is being dictated by the city and establishing the rules and guidelines around that.
Thank you so much. My other question had to do with the hotel. So, for example, what hotel company is coming? Is it the Marriott? Is it the Hilton? How do we make sure that maybe a local firm or business owner can be a part of that? Sometimes Marriott or Hilton will have a 15, 20%, 30% minority participation with a woman or a minority firm. I'd love to be one of those partners. So if you're going to bring the Marriott or the Hilton and you need a local firm to be a part of them, I'd love to be that. Please partner up with the National Association of Black Hotel Owners with Andy Ingram, and you can bring a black firm to be a part of that action for that hotel. Okay, so I talked about the community. The parking. So sometimes when you do these developments, you're taking parking spaces. Have you guys connected with the Miami Parking Authority? Is money being given to the Parking Authority for the spaces that are being taken away from the project, from the area? And then for the parking garage that you're building, how many spaces are you actually bringing in now that you're bringing all these high rises? So I'd love to get a number count.
So we're not eliminating any on-street parking. In fact, we're adding on-street parking as part of the project as we open up roadways and create on-street parking. So that will be an enhancement to the parking authority's inventory. And then we're adding just over 6,000 parking spaces throughout the entire development as part of our, part of all the projects.
Will they be privatized or will that be with the private parking authority?
Those are private garages.
So then we'd love to see a partner. We'd love to see a local firm be part of that parking authority or that parking garage to have a piece of the action. We want to see economic impact here locally. And it's not just in the workforce that are making $10, $15 an hour jobs. We want to see some of those businesses profitable so that they can come back and hire some of the local people here that you guys are not going to hire. So you said that you have 3 major tenants that are coming in. Usually these tenants, when they come in, they'll sometimes get funding from the Beacon Council, or they'll get money from Enterprise Florida, or they'll get money from the state because they're bringing higher paying jobs. Can we make sure that some of those jobs are local people here that are going to make those $50,000 and up positions, and it's not just people that are coming from outside? I'd love to see them, because Amazon came to Opa-locka and they really didn't bring any management level positions. They really have them on locally. So we'd like to see you have some management level positions within those firms, the 3 major tenants that you mentioned earlier. And then you talked about no affordable housing, which I think is the biggest piece for the community here that they talked about. Why not, this is such a big project, why not partner with HUD? Why not look into some of the grants and opportunities that HUD has, even in utilizing maybe some of the opportunity zones or some of those other local market credit taxes that you can utilize to see if you can do something with the affordable housing. Your project is so massive, there's no reason why you guys can't partner with HUD to find a way to bring some of those local dollars here and do an affordable housing project. And if you can't do it, find a developer or a partner that can help you do that piece. If it's not profitable to your equation, maybe you can bring on somebody else and help develop them to do that affordable housing piece if it doesn't fit into your equation. And so those are the questions that I had, and I thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raymond Williams. If you guys can give me a moment, calm down a little bit, allow me to express what I would like to say. First things first, I grew up in the neighborhood. I've been here for like 25 plus years. To all my Haitians in the building, because to the man over there, he says there need to be more Haitians that's involved in the community, and he's absolutely correct, which is why I'm here today. One of the things I would like to bring up is that you said for job training, the business needs to get started for there to be a job training. That is actually false. I went to school for software development. I'm actually a software engineer. I went to school to study this mobile type of application to get a job in another state. So for me to still be here when the job was not created was giving me the chance to find the job locally when the job finally came to the area. So you trying to develop this business to bring in tech firms, which is great. And then you want to bring in better housing, also great. However, if there is no job placement here for the people that live in this community, they will not have the education or the skills to achieve those job sets. And $50,000 annually is not enough for a person to try and afford and live in the type of apartment complexes you're going to build. Because I actually did the numbers, and I'm assuming most of the apartment complex that you're building will start off around $1,400 for a 1-1, and then continue to increase up from there. And if anyone making $50,000 a year, that's just $1,100 check after taxes. So my question to you guys is, why won't you guys partner up and build an educational place where these people in the community can try to increase their education so they will be job ready for your business instead of trying to build these local bars and businesses? Because honestly, I do love this area, but I do not want to hear loud music 5 o'clock in the morning or have increased traffic Friday, Saturday night because somebody's trying to get a drink in the area.
So the job training requirement is part of our development agreement and a requirement, and moreover, partnering with an educational institution to provide the training that you're talking about for the jobs that you're talking about. Everything you went through is exactly what we're going to be doing, and it's a requirement of our.
Have you guys started doing this? Because I have not, because you guys did mention teaming up with like local kids who live in the area. I live in the area. I have friends that live in the area. They haven't heard or seen anything. The only thing we see is a big old sign outside, Magic City, coming soon. And we all do know that with the increase of that, when you guys build this building, property tax will go up, which will cause the domino effect of everyone else's property tax going up, which will cause people who cannot afford the new rates that they have to pay to move out into a neighborhood where crime rate has increased. And honestly, living in this neighborhood all my life, I used to go to sleep at night hearing gunshots every night, and to know that most of my friends and family members will have to move back into this type of neighborhood horrifies me, just because they can no longer afford to live in this neighborhood.
Well, with regard to the programs, the institutional programs have not begun yet because our project hasn't been approved, and we need to be approved in order to fund those institutional programs. We have partnered with some local organizations. An example for some one-off programs in the last couple of years. A good example is Gang Alternative, where we did a summer camp with a number of children in their program. We're able to give them technology training, and we each got computers at the end of the program. So these are examples of some of the programs that we've done, but they're not the institutional programs that will be embedded on a long-term basis here yet. That is coming in the future.
The last thing I would say is that if you guys are really trying to build something to help improve this community, the only thing you can build to help improve this community is a place to improve the education and the people from this community.
Agreed.
Y'all are here today in your $1,000 suits, speaking to people who are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their lives, the right to culture, the right to live in the city they grew up in. If anyone here has been longer in Miami, longer than 20 years, 30 years, they can see the difference as they drive down the street. Midtown, the shopping center, all of these things have been displacing people. Y'all spoke about Wynwood and that development. I know residents from Wynwood who were losing their homes, homeowners who were losing their homes. Not even speaking on renters. That means renters are going to hurt more because they're not even getting a cut. They're not even being robbed. They're just being... So like, I talked to residents who lived in Wynwood, who lost their homes. I have friends who speak to me, they're like, yo, my mother can't go to work because they're cutting transportation budgets and we don't own a car and we're getting kicked out of our house in Wynwood. That means my mother can't go to work down the street. I have to move all the way to down south, up in Broward. We have no access to jobs. These jobs you're speaking of, the residents are not going to be there. I work with GIS, Geographic Information Systems. It's mapping, right? If you look at Wynwood, the area they developed displaced initially less people, maybe how you say you're not going to displace anybody. Yeah, right. The property owners of these local areas, they stop investing, they sell, there's demolitions happening, people lose their home, people are forced to sell. People are here fighting for their lives and you're just speaking false truths, lies, things in order to seek profit. Like these are people's lives that you're speaking over. Like it's ridiculous. And everybody here is just here to put money in their pockets at the expense of people's lives. We're dealing with climate change. We're dealing with hurricanes that are stronger than ever. And you're displacing people from the highest lands, the safest lands. And you're letting the government move them down to Homestead, which is under sea level. You're letting them be moved to places where it's dangerous just so you can secure a profit. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, the fight doesn't end here speaking to you as you don't take your notes. Like, we can actively organize and stop constructions. Go knock on your neighbor's doors. Speak, build community. Like, you are literally attacking a community. And like, I want you to keep in mind, we're not just fighting for Little Haiti, which is very important. We're fighting for the whole city of Miami. We're fighting for black and brown bodies everywhere. Like as these developers come in, they gain more control. And as they gain more control, they have interest, right? They have interest to protect the people they're moving in. protected by who? Police who are going to police and imprison and incarcerate and shoot down black and brown bodies without persecution. This has been happening for generations. This isn't something new. Gentrification is happening internationally. There's resistance in New York. There's resistance in Oakland. There needs to be a stronger resistance here in Miami, or you will lose your life. Like, you will lose your chance to happiness. You are losing your chance to happiness as these people sit here and lie to you and they negotiate behind the scenes with these politicians who only care about building a legacy on the blood and backs of black and brown people, working class people, renters, people who have been attacked for generations. Like, if you want to give people something, I'm not going to speak on education. Give them rent control. Make sure that the residents who are here are going to stay here.
Hello, so my name is Joseph. I'm not going to share where I live because you all didn't share where you live, so I'm going to keep that to myself. But what I will say is, that I think that we have to rethink how we navigate space and value the stories and the narratives of the people in the space. Like, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we even had to have a discussion about having a field interpreter to talk to individuals. Can you interpret? I'm sorry. Huh? No, can you interpret? Can we get our mic? I think. So I want to say that it's absolutely ridiculous that we even had to have a partial disagreement on the fact that things needed to be interpreted.
Tout était ridicule pour commencer, pour t'obliger à demander pour qu'on interprète qui peut traduire les équations.
So I think it's important to tell our story and our narrative, and you all talked about Lemon City, and you all talked about Little River, and paying homage to those terms, and you completely disregarded the Little Haiti community. You used French terms to talk about the districts.
Et nous avons parlé de différents bagages, nous avons parlé de différentes zones, nous parlé de Lemon City, nous parlé de Little River, nous avons payé hommage à côté ça, mais nous n'avons jamais mentionné et payé hommage à Little Haiti, ni non plus, nous n'avons pas utilisé mots qui parlent en français, mots que nous utilisons, c'est en français que nous avons.
I also think it's highly disrespectful that we didn't see all of your faces, and that this is the first time that people from the community know about a community meeting. You may have had other meetings, but I would argue that they were not made available to everyone in the community, because I've been meeting in our Little Haiti community about the development that you all have been doing, and I've not been made aware of anything that you all are doing, and I know we went to go canvas about what we were doing. And so,
et le fait que Aswea, c'est la première fois de rencontrer avec nous, nous mentionnons des rencontres communautaires, peut-être c'est vrai, mais nous-mêmes, nous pas déjà au courant des rencontres communautaires. Moi-même, personnellement, j'ai rencontré avec différents groupes qui ont discuté qui peut arriver avec le développement ça. Nous avons rencontré dans le centre culturel dans Haiti, mais nous pas jamais au courant que toute rencontre communautaire, ça a été faite.
So what I want to say is, what has been presented to the community has been a complete erasure of the TIET community.
Donc, moi, je m'ai approché et projet ça. C'est comme si nous oublions la communauté leader haïtienne, ça y aurait un cœur TIETien net.
The only confirmed tenants that I saw in the whole presentation were corporations, businesses, not people.
Et moi, dans la présentation, nous parlons de business, nous parlons d'organisation, mais pas trouvé nous vraiment mentionné le monde qui fait partie de la communauté.
No one wants to be forced out of where they live, and no one wants to face violence.
Pas de monde qui aime les forcer
if you listen to our community, the things that we've been saying is that we don't have affordable housing. And you all have what I would assume is the luxury of being able to have a house and a family that you all get to go home to. You have the securities that all of us are seeking. And what we're saying is, if we were part of your family, how would you want to develop where you want your family to live? Because what it seems like is the ultimate motive is money.
Parce que si nous-mêmes, nous rentrons la caille, nous n'allons et bon caille, nous pas de sécurité, nous pas de certains problèmes que nous-mêmes avons affrontés. Nous allons poser une petite question. Si nous devons partie de famille, qui qualité de développement nous avons fait dans la communauté? Si c'est famille nous qui devons aider dans la communauté, qui je nous approcher projet ça que nous travaillons sur lui.
And the only thing that I see really being developed is to try to bring in what I view and what I see catered to as not being the TIT community. I haven't seen you all go out and ask our TIT community what it is they need in their community. I see a lot of assumptions about, where the market is going, that jobs aren't going to be existing. But what I do not see is you all talking to children about the jobs that they want.
Ça m'a trouvé c'est que le projet ça va vraiment prendre en compte sa communauté haïtienne lui-même les besoins. On a parlé de jobs qui peut-être pas exister encore, on a parlé de marché, qui je marche qui je nettoyé, mais nous pas jamais vraiment parler de besoins communauté présentement et nous pas parler de qui les jeunes nettoient et prendre cas besoin ça.
And I'm going to finish by reading some findings from the Miami Housing Affordable Crisis report that was done by FIU.
Et dernière partie pour lire, sont parties qui sortent dans un rapport que FIU a écrit, a fait sous crise et logement abordable qui est
affordable for too many Miamians.
Miami a fait face présentement à un grand problème de logement qui n'est pas abordable pour qui forme Miami.
It's not just that housing is expensive in Miami, wages and incomes are low.
Non seulement les chers pour louer ou bien acheter de Miami, mais tout le monde pas faire assez d'argent, ne pas coûter assez d'argent à Caillou.
6 in 10 employed adult residents of Greater Miami are housing cost burden, meaning that they spend more than 30% of their incomes on housing, the highest rate in any large metro in the nation.
Before mon Miami, dépenser plus que 30% de l'argent que vous faites, ils dépensé pour payer car. Et ça, c'est statistique.
30%.
Ça, c'est statistique pour une grande communauté dans le monde.
And low-income service workers, who make up more than half of the region's workforce, bear the greatest burden of all.
Et mon qui travaille dans le domaine côté service par le monde, c'est eux qui souffrent plus de situation ça.
Racial minorities face the steepest crisis of housing unaffordability.
Et mon qui fait partie du groupe communautaire est confronté plus gros problèmes et logement ça.
Miami's housing affordability crisis hits Black and Latino households the hardest.
Crise qui affecte le logement, qui affecte les noirs avec les qui latino plus la communauté.
African American homeowners, on average, have less than $4,000 of the income left over for paying for the housing each year.
Et en moyenne, les noirs qui sont propriétaires, ils n'ont pas assez d'argent pour payer le logement.
Compare this to the nearly $20,000 that white homeowners have left over after paying for housing.
Donc, nous avons essayé de faire $4,000 qui étaient, mais au fin payé pour le logement. Donc, vous parlez avec la population blanche qui vient $20,000 qui étaient eux-mêmes
payer pour loyer.
Climate change and sea level rise compound Miami's housing crisis.
Il y a un changement climatique qui a fait, il y a un niveau de mer qui a monté, et ça a affecté la crise logement qui est en Miami présentement.
So I'm going to end by saying, in my opinion, like I know individuals are saying if you're going to come and develop, I don't want you to develop, because you all have said nothing but lies up to now, and our community has tried to be transparent and had meetings with you all. And now, you know, we have individuals on their phones, and we have individuals that are not giving us the same amount of attention and respect that we have given. And you know, the way that my mom raised me, she said it never to lie. And so, you know, if developers were gonna come in when the community needs them, and not when they want to make a profit, not when people are coming from beaches because they want to escape the climate change that they caused and move into our neighborhoods and kick us out and rewrite our whole story, kick us out somewhere else, and we have to keep on moving. I don't think you all understand like what you all are doing to this community and the erasure that you all are putting on it. And you know, it's a colonial thing, so it's part of the systematic and ingrained racism that we're taught. And so I think that we need to really think about the narrative and the story that we want to tell, and you all aren't telling our story.
Also to the folks in the back, I think we've been a great group so far. If you all can kind of keep it down a little bit while people are speaking, we appreciate everyone's taking their time and stuff like that, but it's kind of getting a little louder in the back. Big part? Okay, so we can kind of be cognizant of that while other people are speaking. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm the former representative Roy Harden of this district, as well as the uncle of Keon Harden. And I'm a Negro that came through Dearden State on a ship under the houses to America, went from there to Vizcaya, which we talk about the Nassau brother, y'all know what that Grove. Negroes already in the Grove when you got here, sorry. I'm trying to just simply say is that one, when it comes to black folks, especially Negroes, when you try to make a dollar, it comes a crime. Everybody will get there in a minute when you talk about trying to get money from anybody. Black folks, when you lock it, it becomes a crime. We got a friend of ours in jail right now in prison called Dante Stocks. Dante Stocks went to jail doing the same thing Ron Book doing with the, what they call it? The homeless trust. Get over $23 million a year. Be able to tell it has in his yard office. But the radicals, they don't go talk about that. But I guarantee you they'll talk about Negroes all day long when it's time to make some money. I'm almost like you say, Tom, you know Tommy from the Mod Show? I ain't got no job right now. What you want me to do? Start my family there? So, saying that and keep moving on what we're talking about, affordable housing. When you talk about low income housing, when you talk about people ain't got no housing. The right person to talk to is the city of Miami, George Minson. That's his responsibility. You go up to the county, you talk to a guy named Lou, Mr. Lou, I call him Mr. Lou. Okay? He's the county community housing and economic development. That's their responsibility. I don't never see these people in their office addressing the problem. You over there, we go to Liberty City, they tear out the whole neighborhood. I don't see nobody over there helping them keep those houses up. When they tore down Scott, matter of fact, they in Old Town. get on tab and you'll understand why I'm so frustrated. I ain't frustrated, I'm mad as hell. But I'm looking at the fact that it is a development. And for me, I see property in Lemon City, Little Haiti, Upper East Side, the airport, that need to be built too. So for me, I can't waste time blocking other people's project. But let's go make a project of our own. Let's get the city of Miami and hold them accountable for what's really supposed to be done in our neighborhoods. You know, when I talk about Harlem, Harlem has always supported Little Haiti. And I can guarantee you none of that stayed nowhere near Little Haiti. I can guarantee you that. So, even saying that, support Little Haiti and make sure that Little Haiti had his brand, the Harlem was there. Nobody else had the balls to stand up and say, hey, let's make Little Haiti, Little Haiti. But now it is. And it's going to stay Little Haiti. So, still moving forward, I know every meeting I've been to, it may have been 5 people that lived in Little Haiti. 5 total. So, I'm going to commit, since I got time off, to come into our community and walk the community and make sure those people, which they ain't going to have hard to do, go in there and make sure that these individuals know what's happening, for we can get them plugged into the right people and actually help their family get out of the swallow some other things. Because I ain't living too good either. But I got sense enough to know when I'm being misled. So I'm here to help this project and create a project for the people of Little Haiti. Thank you.
Bonsoir.
Good evening, everyone.
Moi dis bonsoir tout le monde. Qui dans sa live spéciale pour staff Magic.
I say good evening to everyone, and especially to the staff of Magic City and everyone present in this room.
Les pays sont votés là depuis 1981. Moi c'est un bon
I've been living in Little Haiti since 1980. I'm a real resident of the place. Everybody who lives here has been working really hard to make the place better. Unfortunately, they haven't had the resources that Magic City might have.
Sistema c'est que nous parlons de nous mentir, que nous pas engager nous parlons de nous mentir devant nous qui parler de nous qui va comme sortir dans cette situation parce que il y a dit longtemps pas jamais.
But what we're being told right now is a big lie, and this lie has been told to us for a long time, and it seems like they cannot stop lying to us.
Est-ce que moi par contre le pays, je connais le pays très bien.
I've been living here 37, 38 years. Do I know Little Haiti? I know Little Haiti very well.
Coulier pour état de réalité, yo ouais qui ça t'a besoin faire yo paraît pour pousser d'eau pour nous sortir pour mettre par la pluie. Sincèrement, pas tant de différence pour nous qui dans le pays.
They look at Little Haiti and what they can do to Little Haiti and how it will benefit them, and they're ready to push us out if we, the people of Little Haiti, will never benefit from all those changes.
Okay, nous allons mettre nous-mêmes surtout nous nous sommes parce que il n'y a pas prendre aucune satisfaction. Nous avons qui ça nous a fait pour nous aider nous avec des cailloux là, pour nous questionner ça.
Yes, I like the idea of development, but as a matter of fact, the homeowners of Little Haiti will never get any benefit from all this. They've already started pressuring us. I feel very sorry for anyone who owns a house and is being pressured into selling.
Eh bien, merci beaucoup, parce que nous avons tous les parents qui ont
Thank you very much. I have much more to say, but there are others and time is short. Thank you. I want to say good evening to everyone who's represented. First, I want everybody to listen to me so they can understand who I am and where I come from. I came from Haiti. I came here to Florida back in the 1970s. And I've been living in Little Haiti for more than 35 years. I've held a maintenance job.
Then this time,
But now I am retired, I no longer have to work. I made a lot of efforts, and after 40 years, I was finally able to buy some properties. And they are for rent on 82nd and first place. When I first bought those properties, they were in very bad shape. I made a lot of efforts. I used my life savings so that those houses would become suitable for living. And as far as the development that we're discussing tonight, I learned about it 2 years ago. I want to say that the idea itself, I like it. It's great when you have a development company that comes to an underdeveloped area to make it better. But I do have one question that I would like to ask the company. The people who live in this area, Little Haiti, for many years now. They became homeowners about spending years of their lives working, they pay all their taxes. I would like to ask, what is the company going to offer those people? What kind of resources would they give someone like me who has a family and we all live in the community, how will we prosper tomorrow?
Eh bien, merci, société. Merci en pile. Moi, je crois que à l'avenir, il y a un résultat des questions sans me poser.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, and I'm hoping that I will get an answer to the question I just asked.
I'd like to answer the gentleman. It's very thoughtful and very important because of his long life here in this community, his hard work and his savings and his investment here.
Nan men yon question ça, une question très importante, que on qui était dans la communauté depuis longtemps est posé, on qui mettait tout effort et tout l'argent que l'était économisé pour l'était finalité dans la communauté ça.
And so what I would say is that by Magic City investing and creating economic opportunity in this neighborhood, the value of his investment will increase.
Ça veut dire que le fait que Magic City va investir dans la communauté et que il va avoir opportunité économique, ça va faire et investissement que vous-même vous faire, il prend plus valeur toujours.
And it will also create job opportunities and training for your children and others in your family.
Et puis tout, nous allons créer opportunité de travail et opportunité de développement pour tout le monde et ça inclut tout le monde qui fait partie de nous.
Will physically improve the streets and sidewalks in the immediate area and create new public open space.
Nous allons améliorer la rue, ni route, ni trottoir, et puis nous allons créer plus d'espace ouvert.
And Commissioner Hardiman has mentioned that part of what might be used for the funds that are being created, the $31 million, would be to support home ownership. That is, people owning homes, people having money to fix up their homes.
Et puis, on va garder le commissaire a mentionné, on partit de l'argent de $31 millions, il va l'utiliser pour encadrer les gens qui mettent calme. C'est-à-dire, par exemple, améliorer, faire réparation dans le caillou.
Now, the city and the trust will decide that, but that is one of the ideas that has been strongly advocated by the commission.
Mais en fait, quand la décision ça, c'est Finan qui va prendre, c'est le commissaire qui va prendre, mais nous-mêmes nous devons encourager pour ces conseils d'utiliser l'argent.
So we hope and believe that people like you who have worked hard and invested will be long-term beneficiaries from this project.
Donc nous-mêmes, nous espérons que nous-mêmes, j'avais qui investi et qu'à la longue, nous pourrons bénéficier de tout l'avantage que nous avons apporté dans ce monde. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brax, and I'm a community member. I grew up about 2 miles from here, so I've seen the gentrification. It's pretty ridiculous. I just have a couple of questions. I wanted to know why you all waited until today to have this meeting. I know you said you had a few meetings, 6, but none of the folks from all of this knew about any of the other meetings. Why aren't people from Little Haiti up here with you part of the planning process? Is there actually going to be affordable housing on the Magic City development? I know you spoke about having affordable housing and an $800 rent, but what about on the actual development? And then, as far as all of this job creation talk, what are you all going to be paying the employees? So, I know that you talked about the zip codes you're going to be reaching out to, but is there any kind of budget with how many employees you want to hire and what they're going to be paying hourly? If it's under $15 an hour, I feel like that's insulting and exploitive. And will they also get benefits? And then the last thing is just something to consider. The schools in this area are so then they can hire more mental health counselors and cases who
You guys want to comment? Because I know you've done something.
So I'll try to capture all of your questions. Why did we wait for today's meeting to have this meeting? We have, as we mentioned earlier, we've had 4 other meetings previously. We viewed them as community meetings. We understand that there are some members who didn't view them that way, and so Commissioner Hardiman asked us to have this meeting as well as the next one that we have on May 6th. Little Haiti community, through the other meetings that we had been viewing the community, hearing from the community and incorporating their comments into our project. Affordable housing, $31 million that we will be providing through the Little Haiti Revitalization Trust Fund will be available for affordable housing and workforce housing. As part of that negotiation, since we increased our cash contribution to this trust fund, we don't have affordable housing on the site. It's committed for the Little Haiti community, a dedicated trust for the Little Haiti community. And yes, some of the allowable uses are workforce and affordable housing, amongst others. Money for the schools, our property taxes that we will be paying annually, about approximately 1/3 of that goes to the school district for them to reinvest back into the schools in the area. Plus, as part of the development, there are fees and impact fees that the school will charge us as part of the development that the school board charges us that goes back into the school system. We can't dictate how those monies are used and for what purpose.
Just to kind of piggyback, I think that there have been some discussions with FIU in terms of technology and partnering with Florida Memorial College to do some kind of training programs, education programs.
I'm a graduate of Global, I can say that.
My name is Eddie Murphy. I'm a business owner. The issues I was about this project. I was out my business since almost 13 years in this communication. And last couple of months I have some issues just come up, I've been many others payment, they want to push me out, others payment, they didn't even catch the money of the hours of payments since compared to January. In January I will see the money of the from January. This was going on because I was not leave my lease over or something like that. And when I called the office, I want to know what's going on about the money that I was making from January. They say you didn't get any payment. I say no, check your computer just to make sure that if I didn't get payment since maybe November to January or something like that. And after that, I was in one day, I see they lock my door, with all my stuff. When I see they lock my door with all my stuff, and I know I was being paid, and I get all my receipt from the money that I was being paid, and I have to go to see my pastor, to see if she didn't help me and stuff like that. When I went to see her, and I showed her all those payments I was paying since November to January, I don't know why they got my first pay with all my stuff. And I paid, mine was called the lawyer, see try to talk to her or something, see what's going on, and I didn't build up my stuff inside. And after that, mine keep fight, to try to let me get my stuff back. When I get my stuff back, I have to remove another space. When I remove another space, it's not even months and a half, the same issues. The owner told me, I don't want you to come to do business to see all you people come here. That's how I feel hurt, because if my people come to support my business, it didn't make any sense. You told me, my people cannot come. My business is support my business. And that's after that, he asked me, you don't have to make any payment, you can leave.
situation, still dealing with my mom-in-law, even though the husband and I are not together, but 27-year-old, I'm gonna bring the young souls in here on this project. Because as my son was very upset when he see a little Haiti, walking dogs, riding bikes, BBs, Ferraris, and all riding down the neighborhood, 45th Miami Avenue, all those areas. I said, you can't get upset because the leaders are allowing the permission to come to the community. And like Poppy said, and the young man who been here all these years, all they will come is buy their property and give them a price for raising taxes, so they have to sell. How we gonna benefit, especially somebody who been here that long and they can't afford it, and now they see this. Now for us, everybody is not meant to work. There are people who have businesses in their houses. Nobody said anything about the businesses, what type of business development, contractors, for those who live in the resident, not for the people who come away into the community, but who actually live in the community. Where are the contracts for them? What kind of business offers for them? Who gonna get space in your Magic City? That's what, we have no problem with you coming to develop. We need your money. But we want to get some of it too. We don't want to just you take and extract the money from our neighborhood. And I've seen it with the Scots. I've seen it with Liberty Square. I've seen it in Overtown. Overtown, they got to walk, somebody walking people through to give a tour of Overtown. If I would have suggested that idea, they'd have thought it was far-fetched. But because you suggested, it's all wonderful and all grand. So the things y'all offering is awesome. But it's y'all own profit, and the money gonna go to Kendall, Pembroke, Weston, all other places. But yet, we have people who they claim don't want to do nothing in life. Opportunities are not presented for us to take and just do it like that. If you make money on people and they broke, busted, disgusted, or sick, something's wrong with you eating good, and we still start struggling to work and make you rich.
Good evening, bonsoir. First, I'd like to thank you and welcome you to the first real Bonafide community meeting. C'est ça, dans les community meeting. That's what we call a real community meeting. You have residents from the neighborhood, from your Haiti. You have businesses from your Haiti. You have homeowners from your Haiti. You have renters from your Haiti. Sitting down together, listening to you, and then they listen to you peacefully. Did they yell at you? Did they scream at you? Did they threaten you? No. And then guess what? This is how you should have started this process. C'est là où tu as commencé. That's where you should have started. You should have come here. Not get people who got donations from your foundation. Not get the artists who got tens of things. Not get people who receive donations. No. You should have sat down with the real members. Black community. The real members of the community, and this represent the project. These are intelligent people. The residents and homeowners and renters and businesses of Reality, they are intelligent people. They know what they want. They are not against development at all. You've been told the wrong thing. They're not against development, but they have concerns. And haven't you heard these concerns loud and clear tonight? Now, that brings us back to the deal. The problem is, you're supposed to be at the end because you have a deal of $31 million on the table. A deal that is much less than what you presented last year. How does that make sense? the entire $21 million of affordable housing. But we leverage only 155 units. Only leverage 155, and yet last year you had $120 million on the table. We could have leveraged 600 units. So we're going back instead of going forward. Number one, the deal is not good, guys. The deal is not good. It is a bad deal. It is not a bad deal. And the way the deal is conceived should not be the precedent for Miami. You have un deal en commissionnaire qui est élu by the people, a commissioner who is elected by the people, who should be representing the people, who should be working for the people, could this deal in private with you. But what about them? What about the residents? What about the renters? What about the homeowners? What about all these people? What about them? So there's something wrong with it, guys. There's something wrong with the process. There's something wrong with the process because any public benefits, this process should be open. It should be transparent and it should be inclusive. It cannot be a deal cooked in the kitchen and in private and in secret with the commissioner who has the it cannot. I thank you for tonight, and I know that there will be a second meeting. But I won't let you know what day is it next week?
May 6th.
Next May 6th.
Same time, same place.
Well, I hope you can move it to a neutral place next time. I hope so. You don't have, you can move, but I think it's better if you move it to a neutral place next time. And thanks you. Est-ce que nous d'accord pour avoir une autre place? The businesses are losing their businesses.
First of all, thank you, Marlene, for your comments. I really appreciate those. Two things I would like to address. First, this has been a very transparent process with a significant number of members of the community. Specifically, my partner, Neil Fairman, who couldn't be here tonight, has had well over 100 meetings with different members of the community, development organizations, and the political office that represents the community. So reasonable people can disagree, and assertions can be made in terms of whether they believe the process was transparent or not. But I'm proud of this process, and I have nothing but, I think, pride when you reflect back on what we've done. Not everybody will be happy, and that's okay, but reasonable people can disagree. The second comment with respect to whether or not this is a good deal. This deal represents $31 million cash payment, represents almost 100% increase in the actual amount of cash dollars that will be going to the community. And not when I say community do I mean Miami. I mean Little Haiti. The previous deal, as Max indicated, had about net $15 million of cash that would be going to the city from the development organization to the city. And that would be dispersed however the city wanted that money to be dispersed. The current deal is $31 million. It stays 100% in Little Haiti, and a $6 million upfront payment that will take place beginning in the first 90 days. That is unprecedented in the history of Miami in terms of development deals and payments that are being made into the community. So that's another thing that we're very proud of. With respect to the numbers that Marlene articulated, if the $31 million, and this is the city's decision based on input from the community, were to be used for low-income housing, for example, the way these low-income housing deals are financed, it's not all equity. So it's not, you can't say that a low-income housing unit costs $100,000 to build, and you divide that into 31 million, and that's how many low-income housing units. The 31 million would be used by the city as the equity, which would represent about 20% of the total dollars available. So that $30 million would translate into $150 million of actual capability to buy income, to purchase low-income housing. So I want to clarify, because that's very important, not to be misled by the fact that 31 million is all that's available for the low-income housing. That provides the equity that's necessary to build a significantly larger amount of low-income housing. So thank you.
Hi, so I'm not from Little Haiti, I'm from Hialeah, but I've lived in Miami my entire life, and I've seen it grow and fluctuate in many different ways in lots of different places. I have one direct question, and if you don't want to answer it, I welcome anyone here to answer this for me. Between the four of you, or any one of you from here? No. Miami, at least the entire county. Okay. From Miami-Dade County, the two of you, or either of you from Little Haiti. Okay. It's very different in Little Haiti than it is in Westchester, or Kendall, or Hialeah, or Miami Lakes. And you cannot in any way understand what Little Haiti needs unless you grew up in Little Haiti and were created by Little Haiti. Just like if you step into Hialeah, you don't know or understand Hialeah unless you have been created by Hialeah. You've heard tonight from architects, from geomappers, from small business owners, and all sorts of people. All of the concerns that exist beyond the simple group that you have created of what you decided are valid community members to express an opinion for all of Little Haiti. You see here, there exist more opinions than the ones that you have gathered. I want to know very specifically what your it should happen. And because you do not only answer to the government of Little Haiti, you answer to the people. Period.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Marta Getchuk. I'm a PhD student at the University of Miami researching gentrification in Miami. And I have one very brief, very simple question and then a comment. So the question is about one of the benefit items. If you could, in the presentation, go back to the chart that outlines the benefit items. So the very first item there, the Little Haiti identification and SAP, could you tell me what that means exactly?
There was a request from the community to include the name Little Haiti in the name of the project and throughout the branding of the project. So previously that wasn't included, not at least as a requirement. And so now the Magic City Innovation District will include in or add Little Haiti as an identification for the project.
Okay, so all throughout the promotional materials and signage, what have you, is going to be Magic City Innovation District in Little Haiti for the lifetime of that project and existence of that project.
Part of the development.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And then as a comment, all of you sort of continuously emphasize that your development has not displaced anyone, right? And so while technically it is true, right, that the development hasn't evicted any actual residents or owners, as educated and intelligent men, you understand that development-led displacement is much more sophisticated and nuanced than just simple evictions, right? But development, oftentimes, even if it doesn't evict people directly, right, has long-lasting effects such as rent increases and property taxes are rising that are eventually displacing people, right? And I think that kind of sticking to that statement that your development is not leading to displacement, when you know, just as the intelligent people here know also, it does, right? And I think it's insulting to the intelligence of the people here and your own to claim that it doesn't.
I just want to say one brief.
Anyone else? Anyone else other than the young lady back here? Okay, so she'll be the last speaker today. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. That hasn't spoken. Okay, go ahead, Alan.
Good evening, my name is Alan Crespo. I write a blog about the city of Miami. I've been writing a blog for the last 10 years, and I can't tell you how many times I've come to meetings like this, both at City Hall and elsewhere. And at some point in time, what happens is that you've got people talking that way, you got people talking that way, but there's a chasm between the two groups. One of the things that I heard here tonight that I've heard often before is, in this particular case, you guys got $31 million that you're giving to the city, and that $31 million can, not shall or will, but can be used for affordable housing. Now, I write a lot about what goes on in the real world of Miami and Miami politics. So let me give you an example of how another project like this was persuaded to give money to the community. In 2014, I think you were part of it. Skyrise Miami. Did you have that meeting? Were you with Skyrise? And you remember Commissioner Hartman just came on board, and he threatened to shut the whole thing down unless Jeffrey Berkowitz went into his office and negotiated a deal. And when he came out of that deal, they were going to give $350,000 to the Liberty City Trust. And so they did give $350,000 to the Liberty City Trust. And the Liberty City Trust is controlled by the commissioner from District 5. So what happened was that they sent out an RFP for how to spend the money in the community. And there were a number of proposals that came back. And the board met. And the board, and by the way, one of the people on that board who was here tonight but isn't here now was Roy Hartman. So when the board met, they had a difference of opinion on how to give the money. And so the next thing you know, the majority of the board members were removed from their positions. New board members were assigned by the commissioner. At the next meeting, and this is a meeting which I was a president and videotaped it, so what I'm telling you, you can go and watch, okay? They decided that they were going to give $350,000 to one business to refurbish a restaurant and a lounge on 7th Avenue and 55th Street. Shazam, or Shabazz, whatever it is. Right, okay. They got $350,000, and that's where the money from Skyrise ended up, was in one business. So now you have a new little Haiti trust that's being formed, with the politics involved in who's going to get appointed. And the commissioner from District 5 is going to appoint the majority of the people to be on the board. And they're going to have not $350,000, they're going to have $31 million. So when you talk about you can spend money on affordable housing, you can also spend it on unicorns. Okay? So that's one thing that you need to understand about how this game is played. And this is a game. This is a game. And none of you are players in the game. You're just unwitting bystanders who watch the game go on and are being used as pawns when it's required to have a pawn that goes along with the game. So that's a problem, and I think it's a problem that needs to be addressed before it goes any further. And I think one of the things specifically that could be done is that it takes, that language creating that trust has to be removed, and it has to be new language put in that the District 5 Commissioner cannot appoint all the members of that board, or even the majority of the members of that board. And you should have community participation somehow of being able to pick, at-large members from the community. So there are a lot of things. I would just close because I saw somebody saying it's time. You know, the problem with these meetings is that these guys are on a time clock. They're getting paid. He's getting paid. He's not here because he's doing it for community benefit. He's doing this because he's getting paid. So the thing here is that they're getting paid and you're not. They're going to listen to whatever you got to say because it's part of their job to listen to whatever you got to say. Whether it's intelligent, whether it's stupid, whether it's funny, whether it's serious. You know, we've just gone through 3 hours of a rant session, and everybody's going to walk out of here with their own personal opinion about what happened here tonight. Some people are going to be happy, some people are going to be sad, some people are going to be frustrated. They're going to walk out of here and say, well, that's one down and one to go. That's one down and one to go. And that's what happens with these kinds of meetings. It's one down and one to go. And after the next one, it goes to the commission. They were voted once. The train has left the station. And unless you all are serious about organizing, I can tell you, one of the things that's upset me most about living in Miami is the lack of real organizing that is not going on all over the city. I get a story, and I know I'm going to wind it up. I get a story of murder in Miami 2 years ago. I went to the coroner's office. I got all the murders that had taken place in the city of Miami. If you draw a line down Miami Avenue, 59 people got killed to the east of Miami Avenue. West of Miami Avenue, there was 470-some people got killed. That's a problem. Far bigger problem than this problem. But there are so many problems in this community that haven't been addressed, that haven't been organized, and people haven't stood up and said, this shit's got to stop. This shit's got to stop. If you all need and I say you all, I mean, I've been writing a blog for 10 years exposing what's going on. But if the community doesn't stand up, if people don't say we've had enough of this, they will keep screwing.
Hi, my name is Naomi Diamond. I am a third-generation Little Haiti resident. My grandparents immigrated here in 1974, and since on our little house on 68 Terrace, 3 generations have been raised in that household. I just wanted to, I'm angry just like everybody else here is. I want to be verbal about that, but instead of speaking on the anger, I want you all to consider the cultural aspect. Miami has been called the gateway to the Americas for decades now. This is more than just a establishment or you're going to build across the street. It's a lifestyle change you're going to be making. You guys know that the property taxes are going to go up. The same families who have been living in these homes for 3 generations may not be able to afford their property taxes. I don't think you guys realize the importance of this building you're in right now, the importance of Notre Dame Church. Many of the families here can attest that they grew up here. They used to have fairs and festivals here. Just 2 weeks ago, there was a huge festival, La Mer Rouge, the Red Sea. And for you guys to build that establishment, it's going to have clubs and liquor licenses and bars up until 5 a.m. It's disrespectful to the churches directly across the street. It's disrespectful to the residents that live in the area. And I just want there to be some kind of consideration for the cultural aspect. Like this young lady was saying, it's more than just Miami. It's not like Kendall, it's not like Coral Gables. There is a strong cultural presence in this community. And we are all afraid that what you're doing is going to erase that culture altogether. It is more than just Magic City. I know you say you're going to put a pretty name on it. We saw what they did to the Citadel on 84th Street. Everybody here knows what Citadel means to the country of Haiti. Inside of that building, not a single business is owned by a Haitian business owner. They tried to put, one of our chefs is Haitian. That's not enough. So for you guys to just tax a pretty name onto Magic City, we know it's going to be, we know it's not going to be. So just please take into consideration the culture you're coming into, the culture you will eventually be destroyed.
Haitian community, for the Haitian people. And for that I commend her. She said something that stimulated me. It took me back to some experiences that is not too good. I got from Haiti, and here I can believe it. In my country, dans le pays, we see cat burn in hot water. When you see cold water, that's scared. I say we got burned in hot water. When we see water, we're afraid because we don't know if it's cold or hot. So we just don't take chances. You are talking, when politicians want something from people, they say everything. When they got it, they forgot everything. They even forgot the people. They only come to us when they want our vote. And Marlon said that that's not right for you to always cook everything before you approach the community. And that tells me something. Because how are you going to do something for me if you don't know my need? If you don't know my problem, if you don't know what I am going through? I am an immigrant. I'm telling you the truth. Immigrating is not a good thing. Because living in Haiti, people don't know. Haiti is for yes, but we love it. But we are forced to leave Haiti to seek a better place for a better life. We live everywhere. Everything that matters to us. And I lived in Little Haiti for about 27 years. I passed 2 years right there by Notre Dame, right there in 60th Street, and I lived for about 25 years on 78. So why do, with all of this problem in Little Haiti, I still stay here? I have my people, with the Haitian people. No, I feel comfortable with my Haitian, with my church, with everything. But a lot of time, guys, when you want to force us out, I am afraid. As I said, regretting, leave your place to go to another place. It's not something that feels good. It's painful. I know it firsthand when I have to leave my family in Haiti. And I come here, thank God, I am in the Haitian community. Now, you promise a lot of things. We've been through that a lot of time. Promise, 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 promise. But never end. Now, my only question. My brother here was talking about organizing. And I applaud, because if we don't organize, it's like we condemn ourselves to relive the same story over and over and over again. So with the organization, with the organizing thing you are talking about, I want to organize to have a contract. Because as you said, it's business. You come into our community. We have a contract this time. When the promise is not lending, so we can, claim our right. Because you are talking about people, it's not the cost of housing, it's a lack of income, yes. Lack of income. Why? Because they don't pay us. not 1,600. So organization, please let's organize so we can defend our right.
In closing, I just want to thank everyone for, I know the hour's a little late, but your comments were heartfelt and sincere. And so as we go through this process, the next meeting is scheduled for May 6th, location here, same place, and 5 o'clock, start registering. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors,